All right, here we are. Got to turn the music off. Hold on. There we go. Welcome to the show, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm sorry I'm on a little bit later than normal today, but traffic in LA is notoriously gacked up, I think is the phrase. And, as we say around here often, one of our mottos and one of the great Sparksist phrases, which will be available in the upcoming book, The Sparksist Manifesto, alternate title, The Sparksist Megafesto. I think that's the winner. Of course, our motto, safety third. Love and adventure, of course, edge it out for the top two spots. And still hanging on there at number 3, safety. That's right. Don't forget, safety dance is one of the ways to protect yourself from... I often will find myself when we have too many trolls around in the internet, or I'm getting in a flame war with someone. That's an old email term for you youngins. On the Twitterverse or whatever. Sometimes I find that some of the best magic is pop magic with a K, and of course the safety dance will often. I mean that's better than one of those blue gypsy eye. Evil eye gems that's supposed to protect you from the evil eye. You ever seen those? They get sold in a lot of shops. The blue one, you know what I'm talking about. Looks like a frozen, flattened boob. Yeah, that thing doesn't work nearly as well as a safety dance. Yeah, and you just do that. Oftentimes, somebody will write something. That's my response to mean things when people write them on the internet. That's a little too much information. I go, I did the safety dance. Yeah. And then I don't even feel bad anymore. Like the trolling didn't work at all. Not that it ever really does, but it never stood a chance. Thanks to the power of the safety dance. Anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. I've been in traffic, if you can't tell. So I'm a little wound up. It's good to be here. Now, obviously, there's big doings in the newsage. Elon Musk buying Twitter on Monday. Oh my God, what's going to happen? Someone with that kind of, basically, we'd be better off handing it over to Vladimir Putin. There are evils in this world, and he is among them. Like, okay. I'm going to upset some of you right now with the idea that I don't give a rat's ass who owns Twitter or runs it as long as it's marginally functional for what I need it to do. Trolls have had their day. None of us fear them anymore. Honestly. Any of you guys worry? Hello, Ireland. Honestly, it'll either be a good place to post and do things or it won't. Musk doesn't qualify as evil. No, he isn't. He's not evil. He's a dick sometimes. He's kind of got standard, rich striver vibes. But let's understand what the scale is, folks. If he's evil, evil has no meaning, because what Vladimir Putin is doing in Ukraine, bulldozing people into ditches, that's evil, right? You understand? Have some sense of balance, otherwise everybody just looks like pearl clutchers. I'm not going to worry about this. And what it does is it sets up people like our first guest for the evening. Hello. Hold on one second. Let me make sure this works. Which is the screen? Is the screen? It was screen. It's a screen. It's screen. Right. Let me. Why is this not scrolling? Here we go. Move this down. And by the way, ladies, I'm about to change screens right now, and you may not be ready for this sexy. I just saying. Prepare yourselves. I don't know what you do. Think Ed Asner skinny dipping, whatever you need to kind of tamp down your, I don't know, for some people that would excite you more. I don't know, whatever works for you. That doesn't work for you, yeah, you're braced. Because this might be too much sexy for you to handle. I know what you're thinking. The only thing that can make this sexier is a single plank of wood in a plastic bag for no fucking reason. I agree. Anytime I can see 2 caterpillars crawling across a blanched plain on their way to, I guess, mate at Bridgecrest Mountain. So this is, you know what, me? Hey guys, I love, not only, there are two things I love in the right-wing vlogosphere. One, of course, beyond people who write their name all over their show a dozen times. That's, I mean, that's the Bongholio thing. Is people who tell me what I think. Like, liberals are freaking out that the liberals are doing that. Liberals are reacting in such a way. Liberals are planning. That's the other one. Oh, tell me what please, tell me what my plan is. I can't wait. I wait with bated breath. Let me get a clean, let me sharpen my pencil. What are my plans again? World domination through how? Oh, stampeding Mexicans and Yemeni terrorists. Okay. And why would I do that? Oh, because I hate the country. Right. I see. So why do I keep voting? Oh, so I can hand it over to socialists. Okay. And then what are the socialists going to do? Communism? Okay. All right. And then after communism, what totalitarianism? And then what happens? Oh, I get shot. I see. All right. Great. My plan seems, I have some flaws in my plan. I would like to work them out. But in this, yeah. The other thing I like is when these guys give unsolicited advice to people they'll arguably never be in the same room with. Now, there's a chance that somebody at the Daily Wire or in Ben Shapiro's orbit very well might be around Elon Musk at some point. That's possible. As an interview, because they have the same weed dealer, but it won't be Ben. But this one's titled 4 Things Elon Musk Must Do with Twitter. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm very excited. I hope none of it involves a zipper hood, although I fear looking at this man that it very well may. Let's find out.
To fire everyone. I mean everyone.
You're fired! So the first one is fire everyone. So basically, he went to the Devin Nunes School of Business Management. Fire everyone. The programmers, the techs, the security people. Yeah, just fire and rehire everyone. Why are you buying a fucking company then? Why didn't you just buy the name? Why would you buy the company unless the essentials of it were sound? And also, understand this dipshit, his organization consists of probably 9 to 15 people. And this just proves to you, let's watch the little GIF.
Musk needs to come in and he needs to fire everyone. I mean everyone.
You're fired!
The simple fact is that
it does add a level of dynamism to his programming. It's it's much more exciting when he has the comedy bits, the comedy clips, the comedy-ish stuff put in there. This actually says more about, look how angry he is. This actually shows more about how Ben Shapiro views people who work at the Daily Wire. Everyone is expendable. No one has value but you. In Ben's mind, he and Elon Musk are equals.
Twitter, as it was operated, was a leftist organ. And you can...
No, it isn't. By any means. If you want to see a leftist organ, though, I can help you out.
That by the freakout.
If you try to put it in a paper bag, though, or I guess a plastic bag, well, I mean, safety third.
Musk's takeover is now engendering in the left. It is incredible to watch the left lose its...
Hold on. Also, again, I love being told... Sorry, that's louder than it should be. I don't know quite why. Let me see. Oh, this guy. Let me see. There we go. All right. Now I'm ready. I've seen a lot of people like clamor about this, but I wouldn't say that the entirety of left-leaning Twitter is packing it up. They didn't all bail at once. For fuck's sake.
Absolute mind. Because here's the thing. Musk has not announced that he is going to be making any massive changes to Twitter. The user experience is going to be very similar. All he has said thus far is that he is going to be in favor of more free speech on the platform. He tweeted, quote, "Free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy. Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated."
By the way, no, he didn't. He didn't tweet that. He tweeted, "Yes! Rockets, hearts, and singy stars," on top of this clipped picture of someone else's thing.
Make Twitter better than ever by enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam.
His publicist wrote that.
And authenticating all humans. Twitter has tremendous potential. I look forward to working with the company and the community of users to unlock it. Now that sounds pretty above board, right? He's saying that he wants to make the algorithms open source so you can actually see how the algorithms work.
Right. Yeah. And he's going to verify. Guess what? By the way, why does he look like kind of like he's always auditioning for some sort of Batman villain roadshow? Simmer, young man. Also, the opening of the algorithm and the fact that he wants to verify everybody. Remember, most of these dickheads constantly slam people for quote-unquote being blue check marks. Never mind the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene's congressional account and her original account before it got booted from the site was, or boated. It was probably a Trump boat parade that took it away. They had blue check marks. Trump had a blue check mark. Everybody verified as a blue check mark. And effectively, what I have been calling for a long time has been, if you have a blue check mark for big accounts that are kind of name accounts, like that are either celebrities or something like that, and those are verified as that actual, and then there's civilian verification, which would be like an orange check mark or some other version of that, or everybody can get a blue check mark as long as it's really fucking you, right? I don't care. But that way you know you're talking to a real person and not a bot farm.
Saying that he wants more free speech on the platform. That's it. More transparency and more free speech, and the left is freaking out, which shows you...
Was I freaking out? Did you guys freak out? I was freaking out. Did I freak out? I feel like am I freaking out? Let me check in. No, I'm okay. All right.
One, the left really hates transparency and they really hate free speech.
No, I did not cut my hair. I have a ponytail.
Especially on these social media platforms. And this has really been true since 2016. I have been making this point for years on end.
Yes, we know you're repetitive and boring. We get it. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice living, you know.
Until 2016, social media was seen as an unmitigated blessing for the left. The left loved social media.
What the fuck are you talking about? Most of us know that if it wasn't for Twitter, Trump wouldn't even be a thing.
After all, Barack Obama had effectively manipulated Facebook in 2012 in genius ways.
Manipulated it in genius way. You mean used it as a get out the vote campaign site like you should?
To achieve his own re-election. Then, Donald Trump won the presidency in 2016, and social media became the enemy to the left. Social media had to be brought to heel. Social media had...
What are you talking about? Trump is the one who said we got to get rid of 230, which would basically, effectively what he was doing was pulling up the ladder after him. He knew full well that if he could, as dumb as he is, manipulate Twitter and masses of people, so could anybody else. So effectively, the elimination of Section 230, which was what he was doing, would have gutted all social media. You couldn't have it because you'd be sued into fucking oblivion. So he basically was, again, like pulling the ladder up after him after he'd already gotten in the lifeboat.
Over by Russian spam bots and evil right-wingers. And
also, he's obviously been taking, I think Russell Brand has a master class in being an online dipshit. Move more. People are complaining that you're just reading from your laptop, Ben.
Therefore, we needed governmental oversight. You saw people like Kara Swisher constantly complaining at the New York Times that there just wasn't enough oversight.
Did I? Have I seen her constantly? Kara Swisher. Am I supposed to read her constantly? Is that how the press works?
Wasn't enough censorship at places like Twitter and YouTube and Facebook.
Is that what she said? Kara Swisher? Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. I'll probably go over here because it's going to knock my headphones off, and that'll be all crazy. Let's see. But give me 1 second, and let's see. Kara Swisher. Oh, K-A-R-A. Sorry. Kara Swisher. Okay. Kara Swisher on Elon Musk. You can't pin him down. Musk Twitter, weed memes, and funding secured. Host of Sway. This is Kara Fisher's thing. I think I recognize her. Let's see. There must be, and she's obviously writing on this a lot. So let me show you. This is her latest. She's basically got a every 5-day byline, like once a week, something like that. Must Twitter, weed memes, edible tweets, and the return of Trump. The newest social media honcho will face a bevy of business challenges at Twitter. Elon Musk swoops in on Twitter's bargain basement stock. Simple, innocent joy and gifts. Yuri Milner's Russian clapback. Florida lawmakers advance homophobia to DeSantis' desk. Tech offers silver lining in Ukraine. Donald Trump's glitchy, snaggy social media rollout. She isn't calling for... I mean, Truth Social's having a day right now. Meta's horrible, no good, very bad quarter where the stock went down. Neil Young leaving Spotify. Remember these stories? Gosh, I feel... Hey, it's like going backwards in time through Pearl Clutch Forest. Edible tweets. I think she means like tweets about edibles. Yeah. Here we go. We need more. Okay, who's behind Web3? I suffered slings and arrows for daring to question in the next iteration of the web. We need less talk and more action from Congress on tech. Missouri talks with Congress while Congress dithers. Squares, blocks, and cubes. What is happening in Silicon Valley? The prescience of 1970s future shock. You know what they're saying. You are the product. Is Meta's facial recognition retreat another head fake? Escaping the metaverse. Beyond Zuckerberg. Rolling on a hard place. Trouble comes for big tech. Will the industry finally have its feet held to the fire? I'm not... Okay, Hollywood recover. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for the endless Facebook apology. Don't get Bezos'd. A spyware flaw, Elizabeth Holmes, in my latest Facebook alert. Okay. September 11th, conundrum, medium of the moment. Crackdown in China is a hot mess, and it's coming for us. On the internet, they're killing people. Biden isn't quite right, but he's not quite wrong. Why the president says Facebook is endangering Americans. Sorry we can't go back to the movies. It's July 8th, 2021. We're going way back. The terrible... Was there a good Facebook appointed panel avoided a clear decision about Trump's heinous online behavior? It's kind of perfect, actually. All right, I don't see it. I was hoping for a big, like, we need more censorship on big tech platforms, just right out in the open. So far, nothing.
You saw folks over at CNBC and MSNBC complaining routinely about how terrible it was that social media had allowed too many people to speak freely. You saw Dianne Feinstein.
Is that how they worded it? That too many people were allowed to speak freely? Citation needed. Facts don't care about your feelings, and your intuition that that's what they were saying is bullshit.
Senator from California openly say to Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook that unless you crack down on content, we will find a way to punish you.
Just content? If you don't crack down on content, you know, widgets, jibber jabber, gobbledygook. If I see any of that shit in my timeline, flibberty gibbets. If you let any more flibberty gibbets online, young man, there'll be hell to pay.
Has hated free speech on these platforms for years.
Well, no. I mean, obviously hate speech and anti-Semitism and anti-gay screeds and QAnon and stuff, it's got some problems. But they don't hate free speech. I mean, this is just childish.
Typically.
By the way, unless, and I can give Ben the benefit of the doubt here, unless Ben is arguing for more child porn on Facebook. If that's what he wants, if he wants true free speech, why can't Stormfront have a Facebook page? Right? I mean, true free speech. Because obviously, if I don't want that. I insist I don't want that. So does that mean I'm an enemy of free speech? That I abhor free speech because I don't want ISIS beheading videos? Maybe Ben does. Maybe he feels that that's why it's like it. Maybe he would tweet more if he had, you know, he could throw some thumbs and some hearts on some people throwing, you know, the children of refugees in a wood chipper. I don't know what gets his, gets him out of bed in the morning.
That free speech allowed alternative viewpoints to get out there.
Yes, alternative viewpoints like take ivermectin, who needs a vaccine, that kind of stuff. Great.
And they successfully cudgeled places like Twitter and Facebook into doing their bidding, which is why at the end of the 2020 election, 1 month before the 2020 election, you saw the Hunter Biden story completely shut down on
I'm sorry, what story is that? I'm not familiar. Is there a laptop? Have you seen it? You have a laptop right there. Is that the Hunter Biden laptop? I don't remember McIsaac telling me it had a Daily Wire sticker on it. He said it had a Beau Biden Foundation sticker on it. And if it does, if it do, I don't know where it is. If it done, then personally I would like to know, vinyl or fabric?
media in coordinated fashion. It's why you saw all of these social media.
Well, it's because it was a stunt within 3 weeks of the election, and a lot of newspapers would often go, we're not letting you just kind of, take out a large ad in our paper. And so Twitter and Facebook did similar things, because the last time they allowed that shit to happen, and the butter emails bullshit turned out to be a lie, and they bought into it and spread it around. By the way, what laptop?
Outlets begin to coordinate in who they would ban. And they would wait until one day and then just Alex Jones was gone. Now, I think Alex Jones is terrible. That doesn't mean he ought to be banned from social media.
It's not, no, you don't ban people for quote unquote being terrible. What he was being banned for was saying things like Sandy Hook was faked, or that the vaccine has fucking chips in it and shit like that. And it was being spread so much that he already has an outlet. His speech is not limited in any way. That motherfucker has his own goddamn network. Why the fuck does he deserve to be on Twitter if he won't play by the rules, whatever rules they set? Sorry. If tomorrow, if let's just say for the sake of argument, if Ben Shapiro bought Twitter tomorrow and insisted that to be on the site as a term of service, that I had to only refer to women, gays, and minorities in using the most pejorative term they could come up with. And that's in the terms of service. He could absolutely do that legally. Have every right. I wouldn't stay on the fucking site. I would leave. I wouldn't sue to make them change the language I can use on the site, because I wouldn't want to be there. All these assholes are doing are taking advantage of giant platforms and making free money off the back of it. And when they get kicked to the curb for not living up to the terms of service that the rest of us have to live up to, but never even bump against the edges of most of the time because we don't have infantile, violent vocabularies.
I think Milo Yiannopoulos is awful. I don't think he ought to be banned from social media.
He's not banned from social media. He's all over Getter, Parler, Gab. He can be on all of the social media that doesn't give a fuck what he says. Not all of them have to do that.
These outlets would simply, all at once, decide that they wanted these people gone, and then they would, in collusive fashion, just ban them. And that was the end of them.
Or, thank you for Occam's rubber mallet, but, or whatever the controversy these fuckers got kicked for was the same on all platforms, because they just post and repost the same shit on their Facebook page, on their Instagram, and on their Twitter. And all of those sites have very normalized terms of service. And so they broke them all at once. They didn't coordinate. The coordination that's like saying all the airlines are coordinating to kick off passengers that threaten the pilot with violence, or yell, "I have a bomb." They worked with the FAA to organize. Get the fuck out of here.
You saw them all do this to Donald Trump in the aftermath of January 6th, for the most prominent example.
Yes, wherein on all of his sites he was continuing to seed violence, and as the current president, the sitting president of the United States, he had access and the ability to carry out more violent acts. And that was an extreme circumstance. They have no fucking reason why they would have to leave him on. And secondarily, I still do not fucking understand why Republicans anywhere want to force a private company to have to give a a government elected official, or even a bureaucrat for that matter, an appointed office holder, an automatic account that they have to give them. What the fuck is that? How does that even work? And they, by the way, and that person, the president of the United States, can violate all the terms of service that the regular citizenry would get broomed for. So let me get this right. This is what Ben Shapiro is arguing for. That Trump can come on, foment an insurrection, goad people to show up at the fucking Capitol, and then charge the fucking doors, and then afterwards go, "You're very special. I love you. You'll remember this day for the rest of your life. Now go home and feel like you're special. Also, wink, wink. We'll see you at the state capitals. And this has been robbed and rigged and rigged and robbed, and that's why you did it, and you were really right, and blah, blah, and foment this bullshit." They've got to carry his words. They have a responsibility to let this motherfucker stay on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube or whatever. They have to let him stay on. Why? Because he's an elected official? So, I don't think, I've heard a lot of arguments about why Trump should be back on Twitter. And this is officially the dumbest one. You hear this from Newsmax all the time. They kicked the president of the United States off of Twitter. And yet the Ayatollah has one. Like, nobody in this fucking country takes the Ayatollah seriously en masse. The president of the United States is our president. It's an American company. It's going to be different. Secondarily, none of these assholes were calling people to, like, rise up and show up in the Capitol. If they did, they get broomed too. But the most important aspect of this is that the federal government or even state governments should not have the right to tell a private company that engages in either social media or journalism or any of those things to force them to allow government officials to have free reign to say whatever the fuck they want. And I guess in this case, former government officials. Like, once you're elected, after that you can stay on forever and say whatever you want. You could, you can bust the terms of service. The rest of us would get broomed forever, but you get to stay on. Because why? Because the government should be able to write a law. Like, why am I arguing the libertarian angle on this? This is just so fucking lost on me. It's so dumb. Oh, play is stupid. Hold on. It does this thing. I have to jump back and forth. What are you doing? Why are you frozen, you big silly thing? Hold on. Try to be out here. Pause that. See if I can go back over here. Why is this not working? There we go.
And you can see that by the freakout.
Okay, here you go.
It all gets tracked by three-letter agencies, by big tech, both. Anytime they want.
Oh, I see. Because
these people go on, and then they would, in collusive fashion, just ban them. And that was the...
And by the way, it wasn't collusive fashion. Big dumb person does big dumb thing on one particular date. Everybody reacts to the big dumb thing. They didn't have to coordinate. It was coordinated based on the idea that across the board, you can't do shit like that on social media.
Of them.
And they let him get away with it for fucking ever.
You saw them all do this to Donald Trump in the aftermath of January 6th, for the most prominent example. And this is something that the left loved. And then
No. We were just, like, fed up with him being able to break the rules when other people got to stay on longer until it led to actual bloodshed.
Lied about it. The left would say, we're not anti-free speech. We're not anti-transparency. We just don't want any free speech or transparency. Well,
yeah, that's how I said it. That's how I phrased it. I mean, who couldn't hear the way I talk about it and not take that away? P.S. This motherfucker wants the federal government to write some kind of a rule that if you get elected into office, every website that exists, I suppose, because it would have to apply equally across everything, has to assign you a verified account, and you can say whatever the hell you want.
Elon Musk has said.
Because by government fiat. What kind of CCP bullshit is this?
In taking over Twitter, is that he wants more free speech and more transparency. And he tweeted out, "I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means." People on the left lost their ever-loving minds.
Did you? Again, I don't even know who he's speaking of.
their minds. Why? Because
He'll talk. Let me see who he considers that, who lost their minds.
They-
Because they tweeted things angrily or something.
he's new. Their assumption always was Twitter was on their side. Twitter was their outlet. Twitter
No, we didn't. Trump was all over it up till January fucking 6th.
was their friend. The same thing with Facebook. The same thing with YouTube. And so the minute that somebody threatens that monopoly, they freak out. The minute
Yeah, that's what I wrote. As soon as Parler started, I was like, oh dear God.
he says, listen, I'd like more openness and more transparency, they lose their minds, which shows you again, they were lying the whole time. They kept saying to all of us on the right, oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. Twitter is the town square. You're complaining about the way that they are manipulating.
By the way, this asshole still has his account on Twitter and has never been broomed because he knows how to color inside the lines. He just learned it last week.
Information or strangling off information or bottlenecking things or shadow banning people. You keep saying this sort of stuff, but it's all in your head. It's not real.
Yeah, please show me the shadow banning.
Okay, well, if it's not real, then why are you freaking out now that Elon Musk has threatened to open up the process?
I mean, basically because the idea is that he's going to give Trump a Twitter account again. That's that's the long and short of that bullshit.
So all of this is
Also, I'm not worried. Please.
question as to what exactly Elon Musk is going to do once he takes over. By the way, Twitter shares did rise almost 6% on Monday to close at 51.70 each. The stock, according to the Wall Street Journal, has been an anemic performer in an era of huge returns for technology companies. Its shares jumped on their first day of trading in 2013 to close at $44.90, within $1 of where they were more than 8 years later when Mr. Musk made his approach. We'll get to more on all of this in
Oh, God. And then I think he does an ad here. Hold on.
your device's unique
Yeah, whatever. Fucking. God damn, these things are like, 80% ad? Feels
What exactly is Elon Musk committing to do? Well, as I've said, he hasn't actually committed to do much at all at this point, other than more free speech and more transparency. There's some
Thank God we're going back to the show that we know and love at Ben Shapiro's. I think it's called the Ben Shapiro Show. Last I checked, it's a little blurry, a little fuzzy in my head, where we really get the show we enjoy from him, which is him looking at his laptop like a guy jabbering at a Starbucks.
speculation as to what he is.
I'm glad they moved them. Notice how they moved the mic closer to his face? Maybe his voice won't sound as pinchy and whiny if we get a better mic and move it. Can we put it actually in his throat?
Do. According to the Wall Street Journal, Musk wants to make substantial changes to Twitter. He reiterated his push to soften Twitter's stance on content moderation. He also promised new features like making algorithms open source. He
Yes, you mentioned. We know. Yes. And?
indicated through regulatory filings, tweets, and interviews at a TED conference how he thinks the company ought to run and what he would do if he were to successfully acquire the social media site. Here's a list of what he said. He said he would soften its stance on content moderation. He has self-described.
Soften. Key phrase there. Hold on. I feel like this is way loud. Is that way loud? Is the clip way loud? It seems like it is. I can't tell.
Free speech absolutist. He said that instead of just taking down tweets or permanent.
By the way, no, he isn't. There's no such thing as a free speech absolutist. That is a colloquialism, because nobody is, unless you're like, yeah, snuff films, fucking beheading videos, anti-Catholic porn. Yes, no age restrictions. Like, that's a free speech absolutist. Get out of here.
Banning users, timeouts are better. He says the platform should follow the
Timeouts are better. No, nothing about the nanny state.
to the countries in which it provides services. He would create an edit feature for tweets, which presumably would allow you to see the original version of the tweet and then also the edited tweet.
Right, an edit button. Like, that's the biggest change you're gonna notice. He's gonna do that. And the reason there's not an edit button, quite frankly, is essentially so you can't change the meaning of people's replies. So there has to be effectively a metadata version of it where you can see what the original tweet was, in case somebody writes, tell me your favorite tree, whatever. You're like, tell me what you have as your pet. Tell me what kind of pet you have, cat or dog. And the people write cat, dog, and then they change the original tweet. what animal would you fuck first if you broke into a house and there were only pets there? Like, that's why you need a sort of what would be effectively a chain of custody of what's been said. Oh, that's a good point. You're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide, by the way. I know it's not nearly as interesting as Ben Shapiro reading from his laptop, like he's giving a school presentation, but he peed his pants, so he doesn't want to stand up in front of the class, so the teacher's letting him use the desk. I know it's not that, but I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, be a Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/HalSparks. And then, of course, you can always be a member on YouTube. You can subscribe on Twitch, which, by the way, I think, where'd our little thing go? Screen share, subscribe, is that it? Oh, that's my alien. Oh, here you go. And this guy, you can, if you use Cash App, you can donate that way. That's good. I'll leave that up for a second just to annoy Ben. All right, here we go.
He wants to take the company private because he says that there is no way to make the changes he wants without taking it private. He wants to give users who pay for Twitter Blue authentication check marks.
You know, you could do articles like this where you just kind of go, this is one line from this Wall Street Journal article. You can read it by clicking the link below. And what I thought about it, here's the main thing that stood out to me, and then you could kind of speak on it as if you actually had your own fucking point that was valid and not just read what the Wall Street Journal already printed.
So maybe the idea here is that in order to monetize the service, to get your account authenticated, you pay for that pleasure. He wants.
It is a pleasure. It will be a pleasure to be authenticated. And how do they do it? Is it a turn your head and cough kind of a thing? We do have live audio, I believe, from there's a room you go to at Twitter to get verified.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Right.
Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
Yeah, at least you're verified now. That's the good part.
Rely less on advertising. He says Twitter should shift toward a business model that relies more on subscriptions, which again makes some sense. He wants to stop.
Yeah, some sense. Go out on a fucking limb. It's a private company. You can subscribe to it. It's already got a user base. A bunch of them will run for the hills, but some people will pay $5 a year or $3 a year to only interact with people who are legitimate. It doesn't even have to cost much. You can buy features if you want to move up the chain, but it's some sort of recurring payment that proves you're you and requires a legit. I mean, there's ways around it. Fucking privacy.com. Look at it. You can make up your own credit card number and your own name in there. That people will do that. But some level of like verification where you don't even see in your feed people who aren't genuine people is the idea.
And scam bots.
It's the same thing. By the way, when you set up a Facebook business page and stuff, at some point you have whoever's getting either paid or buying ads. That's the main thing. If you're buying ads to promote the page, you got to show them your ID at some point. It's a digital process. It's really clunky and weird.
And allow for longer tweets as well. So maybe move toward a more Substacky type model so you can.
Yeah, that'd do it. That's great. So your fucking feed gets miles long.
Subscribe, and then you can put out longer tweet threads. Okay, all of that is fine. Here is what Elon Musk actually should do.
Okay, all right. That's all the normal shit that would actually function as a business thing that he's just kind of desting around and effectively just, throwing, out to see who bites, just baiting people to go, edit button, yes, verified subscription, and I only see people who are real, yes, but I can reach audiences of people who don't want to be, like, let's hear what it is. We got, how much time we got? We got a minute left in this fucking video. No, it fucking hell. It always does this, hold on. It doesn't want me to be able to, hold on, like record the
Musk
page.
needs to come in and he needs to fire everyone.
Okay.
I mean everyone.
All right, this is the, yeah, we get that. We're back to, hold on. I have to, like, reset it.
4 things in particular that Elon Musk really needs to do.
Okay. And by the way, these are his ideas. So why the fuck can't he just... Well, maybe he won't read them. It just looks like he wrote them down. I'm getting aggravated. This is
Number 1, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So you keep hearing from the left after January 6th, we need a Truth and Reconciliation, like South Africa, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to see who was a supporter of Donald Trump. Okay,
what the fuck? Again, like the straw men in this area, it's like the Wizard of Oz with no Tin Man, no Cowardly Lion, no Toto, and no Dorothy, no Wicked Witch. No, it's like all scarecrows all the time.
in order to restore trust in Twitter, is we need to see all the old algorithmic changes and how exactly they impacted user experience. So we need to see who is shadow banned. We need to see which keywords allowed for people to be banned. We need to see the standards that were applied. We need the books opened, and we need to see the history of what exactly happened.
Why? If he's gonna change it and fix it going forward, I mean, I don't care. Do it. But what the fuck will that do? Told ya. Look, you couldn't even say the N-word if you have a Daily Wire subscription. Like, I don't know what the standard will be. Fucking
With
hell.
Twitter. How was the decision made to get rid of the Hunter Biden story?
Well, first of all, start with the idea that it's a story and work backwards to the fact that it's election manipulation and bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. Fuck you. Knock it off. Why does everyone keep saying this? It's aggravating.
How was the decision made to get rid of the Babylon Bee? How was the decision made to shadow ban particular accounts or quash the reach of particular accounts? How did that happen?
Well, you're assuming that they did. What happens if they let you look at that shit and you go, actually, it was just a lot less interesting than you thought it was. You weren't getting shadow banned. It's just a lot of the right wing was being lifted by bots. And some days the bots just took days off or moved to other accounts. And you had like 10 different accounts run by the same fucking guy. And he could only run on one story at a time. And different stuff took precedence. And then they were inside there playing whack-a-mole individually.
So we need a Truth and Reconciliation Commission over at Twitter. That is step number 1.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we need a Nuremberg trial at fucking Twitter. I'm glad he knows.
Number 2.
They're serious.
We do need transparency in the algorithmic selection process. So Musk has already committed to this. He says that he wants an open source algorithm, meaning that we can all see how content is being elevated or how content is being suppressed. That is a very good thing, and that promise needs to be fulfilled. Because how are you going to trust the process if you can't actually see the process at work?
Yeah, and how are you going to enjoy the process if any rogue state or group of lunatics can't just dump a bunch of money to fuck around and boost whatever they want because they know how to game the algorithm in a way that regular citizens wouldn't even know what to do with it if they saw it? Good Lord.
If Musk does that, there'll be a major change because that does establish credibility. That does mean,
That does mean that Macedonian hacker farms will know exactly what buttons to push and exactly what word organization to use to boost their shit to the top, just like people manipulate the YouTube algorithm to get their videos up to the top. And visibility, like popular accounts will get more popular, unpopular accounts will drop off the fucking cliff. That's how it works most of the time.
how it's being run, well, at least you can see how it's being run. Right now, the lack of transparency in Twitter is what has led to the massive distrust. Because your tweet goes down or you're suspended and you have no idea. There's no feedback mechanism. You have no idea what you did wrong.
Well, you have some idea. Half these assholes are trying to get knocked off for a day just so they can go, I was in Twitter jail for a whole day. Like, that was a game the right wing played. Like, dude, just get bounced for a day. You get 2 free shots, so say something and get kicked off and then delete the tweet and they'll let you through. Like RSBN, that's how they get all the Trump shit on YouTube now without getting their channel taken down, is that they live stream it and then immediately take the live stream down, post it elsewhere.
To wait for like a week for some Twitter low-level employee doing scut work to get back to you.
Fucking peons. You're not worthy to be reading and judging Ben Shapiro's tweets, okay?
The algorithmic process more open and transparent, at least allows us to know why these things are happening.
It was because you were boring. It's because you're kind of repetitive. You say everything else the other right-wing pundits do, but you do it in kind of a chirpy, belligerent, weird way. That's why. You're welcome.
It's a glitch, or whether it's a problem, or whether it's an actual concerted attempt to shut down particular points of view.
Does it have to be a higher up if it's a glitch? Is somebody in middle management enough?
There need to be clear rules of the road. So Twitter has had very, very vague rules of the road. This is also true with Facebook and YouTube. Basically, these rules of the road have allowed for bans on anything that Twitter doesn't like. And so you've...
Yeah, it's almost like it's their fucking company.
This very inconsistent punishing of things like quote-unquote dead naming, right? This is why the Babylon Bee got banned, because the Babylon Bee made the tremendous mistake of saying that a man is not a woman and a woman is not a man. And so the Babylon Bee had its account suspended despite the fact that it is a satire site. So we need clear rules of the road. And what would that mean? That mean no violent threats, no intimidation,
no violent threats, no intimidation. With you so far.
No pornography.
Wait a minute. You had me at intimidation, but no pornography? None? What do you... And by the way, who wants Ben Shapiro to define pornography for all of us?
Clear rules of the road, and then everything else goes.
By the way, those are the three things. No threats, no intimidation, and no pornography. If the person's already... I guess corpse porn... Just dead bodies, beheading videos. Are those threats? Not really. Is that intimidation? You can feel intimidated, but that's not the intent of the person. Is it pornography? Depends on what you're into, I guess.
I think that Musk is likely to re-implement something like that.
Yeah. Of all people, Elon Musk, who had an affair with Amber Heard behind Johnny Depp's back while she was faking her bullshit, is going to remove pornography from the site as, based on a standard created by Ben, I buy my wood one plank at a time at Home Depot, Shapiro.
Then finally, and this is the most important thing.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I'm glad you saved it for the end so that we could really, because I'm riveted. You guys ready? This is the most important thing. So no porn, intimidation stuff, truth and reconciliation, open algorithm, which is basically what he means is the same thing. Like, why do they pick those things? It's just the first two are the same. So I feel cheated, first of all. We were supposed to get 4. We're getting 3. 1 was removed.
Musk needs to come in and he needs to fire everyone.
Oh, that's the one you said at the top.
I mean everyone. And Twitter has hundreds, if not thousands, of employees.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Fire hundreds of thousands of people. Fire them all.
Studies done of the donations, the political donations of the people working at Twitter. 98.7% of all donations from the people working at Twitter went to Democrats in the last election.
Yeah, I trust that.
Cycle. 98.7%. So
98.7. Yes, all the incel coders who work from home, all those guys straight up, none of them have been black-pilled.
It doesn't matter what rules Elon Musk sets top down if the so-called Twitter deep state is still implemented.
Fucking hell, everything's a conspiracy.
It's favored policy.
Honestly, lay off the grains.
Because this is the thing. And Donald Trump found this out when he was president.
Did he? He found this out when he was president. And whoever's next president, according to Ben, you should come in and fire everyone in the federal government.
Name the policy top down, but if everybody at the State Department hates your guts, they're just going to undermine your policy. You can name the policy top down, but if everybody at the FBI decides to spend the next 4 years ginning up nonsense about Russian conspiracy theories.
They didn't. That doesn't look crazy at all. He even doesn't buy it. Look how high his eyes are going. At least Glenn Beck leans back when he looks at the ceiling to lie.
Can't get much done.
Yeah, can't get much done.
Musk takes over the company.
Fuck, that hurt my eyes looking at it.
He should do what every boss at every company does, and he should review the employee list and figure out who is good and who is bad.
Yes. So, Elon Musk, good luck. I know you've got, a rocket ship, launch right now, and you're obviously Tesla is working on a form of battery that doesn't use lithium, so it creates less toxic waste over the over the lifespan of the car, and I know you're working on that or whatever, and I know you try to get in 2 hours of Call of Duty a day, but Ben Shapiro wants you to do a performance and personality review of anyone who works at Twitter, and if they donated to the wrong political party for him, you should fire them. Is this just a backdoor way of him trying to get some people that will, their only chance will be to go, I guess, work at Truth Social?
Not purely on the basis of politics, but on the basis of performance. And the good news is,
well, I'm glad it's not just if they're a Democrat or a Bernie Sanders supporter. And by the way, what do you think the breakdown of that is?
Many of these employees are already sounding off on Elon Musk, and they've given him good excuse to fire them.
Sorry, so if you shit on the boss, you can be that, whether you have value to the company or not, he should just fire you. Now, if it's a private company, he takes it private, fine, and it ends up capsizing it, that's his ass. He has every right to do that. Whether it's prudent is a totally different matter. And these are the 4 things that this dickhead came up with. That's the best he can do. The first 2 were the same thing. Show us the algorithm and how I was totally shadow banned. All my interesting things were being shadow banned. I should have gotten a lot more likes on what I said. I was way more loved. It has nothing to do with the fact that I have tens of thousands of bots following me. It's toot sensual. Yes, that's true. Thule, thank you. Yeah, Ben Shapiro can't believe that he's just not interesting a good portion of the time. It must be that my tweets are getting put down somehow. They're not trending like they should. I had to pay for things to trend. Right. And then what was the other one? Besides fire everyone? I've forgotten it already. Like I gave a fuck. Oh, for fuck's sake. Just dumb. Where are you?
Now that sounds...
Okay, hold on.
Is we need to see all the old...
Yeah.
What was the decision made to...
Yeah, right.
How content is being elevated or...
Right.
The lack of transparency in Twitter...
Right.
At least allows us to know why these things are happening.
All right.
You've seen this very inconsistent...
All right.
No violent threats, no intimidation.
Okay.
Woman is not a man. And so the Babylon Bee had its account suspended despite the fact that it is a satire. There's some pretty clear rules of the road, and then everything else goes. And I think that Musk is like...
3 was clarify the terms of service. That seems to be the one, right? That seems to be... Lil Ben is confused about the terms of service, what you can do, what you can't do, how you can do it, and when you can do it, and who you can do it to, and whether or not it involves a pineapple. Let's see. Twitter terms of service. Outside the United States, included you live in the United States. These terms are okay. Okay, so here is the Twitter terms of service. There are several different breakdowns. Oop, I got to move my... take a picture of it while you can. I'll bring it back out. These are the areas of the terms of service. There's 6 whole areas. So, I mean, it's honestly, I'm overwhelmed. Just 6 things. The who may use the service thing. We'll get to that. Privacy. He didn't give a shit. This is what it is. Content on the services, using them, and this is the Section 230 part. And then there's some general thing. These are the 2 parts, I think, that probably most concern Lil Ben. Lil Benny Ben. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look. Content on the services. You are responsible for your use of the services and for any content you provide, including compliance with applicable laws, rules, and regulations. You should only provide content that you are comfortable sharing with others, like a picture of you outside a Home Depot holding some wood, and no one can figure out why the fuck you're doing that. Any use or reliance on any content or materials posted by the service or obtained by you through the services is at your own risk. We don't endorse, support, represent, or guarantee the completeness, truthfulness, accuracy, or reliability of any content. That's more on the receiving end. Or guarantee the completeness, truthfulness, reliability of content or communication posted via the services, or endorse any opinions expressed via the services. So what people say isn't what we say. All right, we know that. You understand that by using them, you may be exposed to content that might be offensive, harmful, inaccurate, or otherwise inappropriate, or in some cases, postings that have been mislabeled or otherwise deceptive. All content is the sole responsibility of the person who originated content. We may not monitor or control the content posted by the services, and we cannot take responsibility for such content. Okay, baseline, legally, they got to put that in there. And that's reasonable. It's a social media site with millions of users, just like Facebook, it's fucking like 1 billion users. It's absurd that they could manage all of that. Something's going to get through. You should be ready as an adult because you are walking around effectively in a digital version of public, and somebody might walk up to you and do something awful. We reserve the right to remove content that violates the user agreement. Like if someone walks up to you in a park and flashes you, the cops can't stop that from before it happens, but they can arrest the person after, right? Same deal. No one's going to protect you if you go out into the world, the big bad world, and you're going to see all these people that some of them aren't going to be mean, gross, violent, stupid, blah, blah, blah. That's truth. And that's going to happen. That's the truth. And that's going to happen on Twitter as well. If somebody does that, though, you can always call the cops. That's the theory. And so that's what they have here. Including, for example, copyright or trademark violations or other intellectual property misappropriation, impersonation, unlawful conduct, or harassment. Information regarding specific policies of the process for reporting or appealing violations can be found in their help center. Oh, good. There's a help center and a hot link. Ben, if you ever need to figure out how to remedy it, there it is. There's how to report and managing your account, suspended Twitter accounts if you get kicked off for doing it. There you go. Sender, receiver. Receiver, sender. Either one. All right. If you believe that your content has been copied in a way that constitutes copyright infringement, please report this by visiting our copyright reporting forum. They have that as well. There's their Twitter thing. There you go. Your rights and grant of rights to the content. You retain your rights to any content you submit. This is the opposite of like Parler and some of the other. You own your content, and your incorporated audio, photos, and videos considered a part of that content. By submitting, posting, or displaying content through the services, you grant us a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free license with the right to sub-license, use, copy, reproduce, process, adapt, modify, publish, transmit. This is all boilerplate, but the idea is that if you post it on Twitter and they want to use it in an ad, they have every right to. That's, but you still retain your right to the content everywhere else, except where they're promoting themselves. Because if they didn't, like you could charge people for every retweet, just drop a lawsuit and it would fall apart. Twitter is an evolving set of rules for how ecosystem partners can interact with your content on services. That means they're adding new shit, so new rules will apply. These rules exist to enable an open ecosystem with your rights in mind. You understand we may modify or adapt your content as it is distributed, syndicated, published, if it's square, if it's flat, if we decide we're going totally linear, whatever. So, and you post anything we assume you have the rights to post it and you're not stealing it from somebody else. You're saying it's yours, so you have the right to put it up. Let's see. Using the services, disclaimers, and ending these terms. There you go. You may end your illegal agreement with Twitter at any time by deactivating your account and discontinuing your use of services. We may suspend or terminate your account or cease providing you with all or part of the services at any time for no reason, including, but not limited to, if we reasonably believe you have violated these terms of the Twitter rules and policies, Periscope community guidelines, which don't exist anymore. You haven't updated this in a bit. You create risk or possible legal exposure for us. That's the other thing. This is, by the way, where the hydroxy and horse paste issues came in. Your account should be removed due to unlawful conduct. Your account should be removed due to prolonged inactivity, or a provision of the service is no longer commercially viable. That's if we start charging for our services and we can just shut it off. We will make reasonable efforts to notify you, depending on the service, and all such things. Okay, that's it. Pretty clear. Not really that confusing. specifically, there is a using the services. Twitter rules and policies. There you go. General, understanding the rules and policies. Platform integrity, safety, and cybercrime, intellectual property, platform guidelines, law enforcement guidelines, research. Okay, so let's look at the general. Misleading and deceptive identities. That's fake accounts. That'll be fixed largely by the rule he would put in place. That's one of the first reasons. So that's why it's at the top. Synthetic manipulated media policy, which is why the New York Post story and the Hunter Biden laptop nonsense was stopped. Platform manipulation spam, which is basically the fact that that story and a lot of others got bounced, not because it would be like kind of on the radar of Twitter or even Facebook in some cases. This happens a lot, to squash them, shadow ban them as it were. But if they're artificially pushed up by like viewing farms, like on YouTube, I've shown you guys before. Well, here I'll show you exactly why most of the stuff, especially similar to the shadow ban stuff that they're talking about, why things get kicked off. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah. Let's just look straight at this. We'll just click on some and look at it. All I put into Google was buy Twitter likes. And this is 27 cents per 1,000. Followers, likes, and comments get 10% on your first deposit. Increase your Twitter followers higher for a fixed price. Twitter buy likes, premium Twitter likes. Buy Twitter likes, real and instance, $6.99 at famous follower. That's the thing, or whatever. Best sites to buy Twitter likes and retweets. That's what they're talking about. Yeah, they have watching farms in Leslie. Watching farms in India, Leslie. That's right. Not in Leslie. In Leslie, Indiana is actually a city, but in Indiana. So people buy these, and this is against the rules of Twitter. And so what happens is that stories like the Hunter Biden BS or any of those kind of things, especially leading up to an election, these accounts, which Twitter is aware of and does, is constantly farming, they spike like fucking crazy. And everybody goes, this story's being suppressed. It's like, no, it isn't. All these fake accounts are boosting it as an attack, and the algorithm reacts to it. And that's what they're going to find out when they look at the algorithm. What they're going to find out is when they look at the algorithm and they see this truth and reconciliation thing, what you're going to see is Macedonian hacker farms, Indian and Indonesian, Vietnam, even some Chinese firms spend all day liking and boosting stories. And Twitter and Facebook and other sites like that respond by basically leveling it out. So there you go. All right. Welcome back to the show. So, Danny Balls. You're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm here on all of your favorite sites, actually. YouTube, Twitch, twitch.tv/HAL Sparks. Don't forget to subscribe. Hold on. There should be, I don't know where it went. Where did it go? Let's see, height. This is 150. And then I think the size is 950. No. 50, I think that's what it was. Let's see if it's... Is that it? Oh yeah, there it goes. It's a little big, but I'll squash it down. There you go. Help us build this thing up. 933. Not bad, guys. We need 1,000. Right. This is what happens when you don't buy yours. This is called organic growth. And I appreciate every single one of you for doing that. Thank you. I know I don't ask often enough. I know I got to work on it. But still, there we go. I'm doing it pretty well. Thank you, Diane. Yes, like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Oh, nice. The Patreon Creative Circle shout out. Thank you, Leslie. Yeah, we need to have another creative powwow. We got to schedule that. That's on me. Now that we're out of our Bob Seska mentions HAL a lot. Yeah, he's good that way. I love Bob. We haven't had many in-person run-ins, if any. Maybe once, but twice. I don't know. Everything blends together. Always happy to give you my pesos bucks. Thank you, Beef. All right. So, Danny Balls has Marge on. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene went to the border. And apparently, Danny Balls is in the business of, I guess he's having a hard time getting guests. So, unlike me, who I offer to debate people all the time on stuff, I just want to do it. I don't even need it filmed. I'm like, I'll just sit across a table from you, and you can film it, post it later, and I will chew your argument up and spit it out. This guy just needs guests, apparently. But this is Danny Balls. And Danny Balls is, he's got MTG on, and he's talking about the border. And this is one of their big scare tactics. So basically what you're going to hear is there's going to be 30 million immigrants in this country by the time Joe Biden leaves office, because that's what they're going to do. They're trying to change the face of America. That's the one story. The other one is that they're trying to kill all the white people with fentanyl. That's what you're supposed to assume. Oh, that's awesome, Carl. I appreciate that. He says Bob refers me as the great HAL SPARKS. I'm honored. He's a good man. So let's see what Danny Balls has to say with
Welcome
MTG.
back, and thanks for keeping it here on OAN. I'm going to make this...
Yeah, nobody keeps it here. Keeping it real.
statement, and I don't do so lightly or to poke fun at Joe Biden or, like I say a lot, to try and get clickbait like the left does on social media posts.
The fuck you talking about? Yeah, we do the clickbait.
This video. No, I'm making this because it's the truth. It's factual. And
Fact.
it's a...
And everything is factual. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-eh. Chaos at Biden's southern border is what the title of this. You know Trump was the one that wore a diaper, right? Okay, here we go.
Situation that needs immediate attention by every single American. I don't care what political side of the aisle you're on.
You kind of do.
Joe Biden's border crisis is killing people.
Joe Biden's border crisis is killing people. No one's been killed at the border until Joe Biden came into office, and whatever happened there is Biden's fault because of policies. Let's hear it.
Fact.
Fact. People are dying because Joe Biden did a thing. Let's hear it.
And I dare any Biden supporter or leftist out there to prove me wrong. You're more than welcome. I don't care if you're a private citizen or...
Okay. It's really easy. I don't even have to talk to you. Have people died at the border before Biden was in office? Did he have anything to do with it? Is this the only time people have died at the border? Did the policy change affect why someone died in this, whatever particular case you're saying? Is it because Biden hasn't even, like, they want to take back Title 42, but they haven't done it yet. I think it's actually this asshole and Sean Hannity and all those guys. If there's any extra problems at the border, it's because people are charging the border because they think it's open. And who is telling them it's open? The right wing. The Biden administration isn't saying that. These guys are.
Politician, or you work for one of those scumbag left-wing networks. I invite you on the program. I'll give
Sure.
as much time as I give everybody. And you...
All right. Should I go on? Should I reach out?
prove to me that it's not Biden's direct fault and that people are not getting killed because of him.
Okay. All right. So which deaths are we talking about? Are we just talking about people trying to come across the border? Because again, the only people going on the news and saying that the border is open is right-wingers. Nobody's ringing the dinner bell on the left side right now. They're saying we got to treat asylum seekers right and those kind of things. But the only ones on television all the time saying the border is open. It's an open border. Biden's got an open border. It's open border. Anybody can come on across. It's open. The only people chirping that every day on every news source in front of every camera they can find is right-wingers, is Republicans, is Ted Cruz, is this dickhead.
It's happening.
Okay, it's happening though. This must be specific.
And I'm talking about Americans.
Well, I should hope so. We don't care if non-Americans die at the border. That happens all the time.
Are dying. The migrants are dying. Heroes are dying.
Oh, heroes are dying. No heroes are. So we're only talking about the time after the Alamo.
And here's the biggest thing in this statement, and I'm going to
Okay, the biggest thing in this statement. Let's hear it. Heroes are dying. That was pretty big.
get to our next guest. This was all avoidable.
Yes, I think if Republicans had stopped telling everybody on every network they could possibly get on that the border is open, some of this could probably be avoided.
Prove me wrong there.
Okay. I just did. You're welcome.
It was all avoidable.
It was avoidable.
We mentioned this last night.
Okay. All right. Again, I don't even know what he's talking about, so I don't know how we're going to avoid
22-year-old Texas National Guard specialist, Bishop Evans. He died while trying to save what he believed were 2 illegal migrants coming across.
This motherfucker.
Rio Grande. Turns out they were drug smugglers. He's now the first guardsman to die there as a result of Joe Biden's border crisis.
No. He's Texas National Guard. You know why he's working the border? Because Abbott sent him there. He was there as a part of Operation Lone Star, which has been a massive failure and should have been shut down months ago. It's a waste of resources and a waste of fucking time. He wouldn't have even been on that border working it. We've got Customs and Border Patrol. He wouldn't have even been in this situation. And again, let's see. Bless his heart, I don't know how he died. So hang on one second. He's going to use this story. We're going to find out about Bishop Evans. This is Bishop Evans. Let me show you. Guardsman who drowned on Texas border had no flotation device. To help migrants had not been issued. So he was working for the National Guard. He was put there by Greg Abbott. He was not issued flotation devices, even though he was in and around the water, and part of his duty would have been to save people who were drowning. He drowned trying to save people from a river. 3 days after he jumped into the Rio Grande to help a migrant struggling to swim across, the body of a Texas National Guard soldier from Arlington has been found. While on duty, was not equipped with a flotation device when he jumped in the Rio Grande to help a migrant who was struggling to swim across. Special Bishop Evans, who was missing 3 days before search crews found his body, was among more than the 6,100 Guard members stationed on the border as part of Governor Abbott's massive border security mission known as Operation Lone Star. He was stationed on the border in I presume in a boat. He jumped into the water. Was he on land? Requests for more flotation devices were first made in February, but have been delayed by supply chain issues. Soldier told lawmakers in the Texas Capitol while facing questions about Evans' death. Low morale and equipment shortages have rattled the year-long mission. This is not Joe Biden's doing at all. This is Greg Abbott. This death, and this guy, it should be commended for trying to save another human being, or 2 in this case. But if there's guilt in government for his fucking death, it's on Greg Abbott. He's a human being. He saw a human being drowning and he jumped in the water to save them. Migrant rescues by the Border Patrol are common along the 1,200-mile border. Attempted crossings are sometimes deadly. They mostly stay on the banks to help migrants, and that he could only recall 4 or 5 instances where a Guard member went into the water. Evans is at least the 5th Guard member who has died during the mission, a number that includes suicides. A Democrat called for the inquest into the death of Roland Gutierrez. The mission includes thousands of state troopers, patrol boats on the Rio Grande, and surveillance aircraft, and the cost of the state to more than $2 million a day. Abbott gave Guard members unusual authority last year to detain and arrest migrants, but most on the mission are assigned to observation posts. Guard leaders acknowledge morale problems, including equipment shortages and sparse living conditions, but said improvements have been made in recent months. Average morale would be about a 7, far above when we first started. A 7. Meanwhile, this guy's dead. Texas National Guard Bishop Evans dies trying to save illegal immigrants, is what this dude says. Like he deserves it. Fuck you, dude. Secondarily, Abbott put him there. This is Abbott's policy. And they're like, well, he had to, or people were coming. Bullshit. It didn't change. It hasn't changed the numbers at all. Half the time they are saving immigrants who are coming across.
Thanks, Joe.
Fuck you. Thanks, Joe. I didn't know. Does Greg Abbott go by Joe in Texas?
Now, this is what really kills me.
Apparently, it isn't diving in to save anybody who might be drowning, Dan, because I can't see you ever giving a fuck.
When you have the audacity to respond to a question about this young hero dying like this witch did. I'm talking about Biden's White House press secretary, Bride of Chucky, Miss Jen Psaki.
Bride of Chucky, he calls her.
A reporter pushed her on it. Do you guys feel some sort of blame or responsibility for the young man dying?
As a part of Operation Lone Star? You mean the guy who died in Operation Lone Star? The victim of Operation Lone Star? The 5th death of a guardsman associated with Operation Lone Star? Which is not a federal program, which Greg Abbott put together? The 5th death in relation to Operation Lone Star.
Because it's your policy that caused.
No, it isn't. It's Greg Abbott's policy.
Watch her answer.
Of course, we are mourning the loss of his life, and we are grateful for the work of every National Guardsman. I would note that the National Guard work for the states, and so he is an employee of the Texas National Guard, and his efforts and his operation were directed by there, not by the federal government. In this effort, in this apparatus, we've long stated that our immigration system is broken. There needs to be more done to invest in smarter security, to have a more effective asylum processing system, and we would welcome any efforts to for any elected officials to work with us on that.
And listen, you smug.
Why the fuck does he smug? This asshole wants to take the blame for this guy's death off of Abbott and put it where it's politically expedient for his stupid fucking show.
Elitist? Female? What are your pronouns?
What a douchebag. Can you imagine if anybody actually watched this show?
He wouldn't have been there, assigned by his state, if your damn boss wouldn't have rescinded every Trump policy concerning immigration.
Well, he didn't. As a matter of fact, most of them are still in place. They reviewed them.
My next guest is Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She took actually a trip to the border, somewhere that our VP and our president haven't even gone. She went there with several
they're familiar with where it is.
Republicans yesterday, and she spoke out, slamming Joe Biden for
What a weird thing. She didn't slam Greg Abbott for stranding a bunch of National Guardsmen on the fucking border where they're not needed.
This nation, and that's what he has done. We're going to bring her on, but first, this is from yesterday. Take a look.
This isn't about political parties, and it should be nothing about politics. This should be about securing the United States border, respecting our laws, respecting our law enforcement, respecting the families and the businesses that live right here along our...
So what you're saying is, let me just follow you on this. Let's say there's a barrier, and there are police on this side of it. You're saying people should not break that barrier and attack those police officers with, say, like a Blue Lives Matter flag especially. I think that would be extreme. I'm just using that. I'm just spitballing here.
Border.
So if, let's say there was a barrier on the steps of the Capitol. All right.
And also realizing by the sheer numbers and the facts and the information that we learned today that our president, that the United States elected, he is serving as our president. Well, he is the greatest business partner to the cartels that has ever existed.
Well, that's saying a lot. And you're not even going to mention George W. Bush's low-flying airplane trips to South America during Iran-Contra at all? That's just going to... Again, by the way, I'm amazed the cartels are as effective as they are, considering apparently they're partnered with and obviously run by a criminal mastermind who has dementia.
Want to welcome Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman representing Georgia's 14th, back to the program.
Gibberish.
Again. Marjorie, I'm sure that your eyes were opened when you actually were at the border, physically standing on it and seeing what our brave border agents are dealing with hourly, minute by minute, versus this regime who just goes to a city near you, but never actually goes to the border and sees what's happening with their own two eyes.
Say administration. Stop talking about the United States government as if it's an occupying force. You fuck.
Yes, Dan, I was actually shocked. You know, it's one thing to see it on television and you see the stories and you see it on the internet and you may read it in the paper. But when you actually go there and you hear from the Border Patrol how they're so frustrated, they're depressed, suicidal. Some of them have committed suicide. How difficult it is for the chief of the Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz, to actually hire new Border Patrol agents because they can't find anybody that wants to do this job. Of course. A job that they're not even being allowed to do. As a matter of fact, they're just processing people and bringing them in the country. While ICE used to put ankle bracelets on these people, they now get a free cell phone and they get told to go ahead and they get a court date at some other time. They're not even given a court date anymore. You know, here's what the problem is, Dan. I witnessed a grown man.
Yeah, if they have family in the country, the rest of them are just dumped. She's talking about the people who actually have an asylum claim that works or have a sponsor inside the United States, be it a church group or a family member who will make sure they make their asylum claim court date. They get the cell phones and stuff. Everybody else just gets broomed right out of the fucking country.
The rancher that lives right there close to Eagle Pass break down crying, talking about how dangerous it is for them that live there in that community and how there are a steady flow, just a steady flow of illegal aliens coming across his property, threatening.
Look at that. Look at that. Hold on. This is terrifying. I don't know if you can see this in the background. Let me see. Look at that. Look behind, like right where I am. Look right. Hold on. Look what's right there. I've never been more afraid. That girl is going to cross the border. Good God.
His wife's life. She is a defense.
There she is again. Oh my God, she's haunting me. It's like a lone toddler. That's a police officer walking this toddler. Why is she given a cell phone? She's not old enough to have a cell phone. Oh, for fuck's sake. Gotta jump over onto this other page and then come back.
Yet neighbors of his, children have been attacked. A child was sodomized. I mean, these are things.
Yikes!
These should never happen.
Well, it's Texas. I don't know what to tell you. What in the world?
Should never happen, but we were there in the boats going.
Wait, you were there when a child was sodomized in a boat? What? Back up.
Along the river in Eagle Pass, where they found Texas National Guardsman Bishop Evans' body, the 22-year-old great young man that jumped in the water to save someone's life who was smuggling drugs into our country. But he jumped in to save his life, and he gave up his own life. And we were taken on the boats there where his body was found just a few hours before. And then guess what, Dan? While we were out on the boats, a group of 75 illegals crossed the river and entered our country illegally right there, in front of us.
Yeah. When are we going to get alligators? Is that what it is?
You can't even make this stuff up.
I know.
Yes, you can. You kind of are. They didn't just go into the country. You watched them. You're in a boat. They're being observed. They're getting picked up. They didn't sneak by.
Overwhelming.
I know. And it hasn't stopped. It's happening every minute to these guys and gals down on the border, and they're at their wits' end. We had on Ron Vitello. You know who he is, former ICE director under Trump, I think yesterday or the day before. And he said morale's at the lowest. These guys and gals are at their wits' end.
Yeah, if only Republicans would stop going on television and telling the world that our border is open.
Most of them don't even want to go to work anymore. Their hands are literally tied from doing...
No, they're not literally tied. They're figuratively tied.
...damn jobs. And then you have Title 40.
What's their job? What job can't they do? 75 people from another country cross a river, which apparently is totally free of alligators and sharks with friggin' laser beams. They're in another country. They walk into our country, which apparently it should have, I guess, Constantina wire across the entire fucking thing. They cross into our country. They are picked up, processed. Most of them are sent right home. And if they have sponsors or they have little children, they are fed and then either put back in Mexico to await their asylum thing, or they go to a place, if they're minors, where, you know, they go to a Catholic Charities thing or something like that will take care of them. And what's their job that they're not allowed to do? Drown them in the river? For real.
Thank goodness that Louisiana judge did this restraining order. But the bigger picture here, Marjorie, is something needs to be done now. And I hear there's a few Democrats that jumped on board with you guys that are upset about this and are pushing back on the Biden regime. How many are we talking? I think I saw...
It's not a regime, it's an administration. Also, the comprehensive immigration bill could pass the House and the Senate, but it's being held up by either Ted Cruz or Rand Paul. I don't know which.
11 senators and maybe 15, 20 House reps.
We'll see, but it's one thing for them to talk, Dan, but
Right.
we discharge petition right now on the House floor. We have a bill in place that will make Title 42 permanent. So if they want to say they care about border security because they're up for re-election, then they better get down to the House floor and sign that discharge petition and actually do something to force this. We only need 218, Dan, 218 members of Congress, and we are so close. We need Democrats that will do the right thing to sign the discharge petition, get it out to the floor so we can hold a vote and get around Nancy Pelosi, who won't allow that bill to the floor. But if they will sign that discharge petition, we can bring it to the floor for a vote. Because, Dan, here's the one thing I got to tell you. This country can...
And by the way, Title 42 is excluding migrants from coming into the country or forcing them to be processed outside of the country because of a health emergency. Effectively, that immigrants are assumed to be diseased. And since we can't prove a negative, and because, you know, COVID passed as prologue, they're going to use that as the predicate for, from now on, nobody gets, you know, nobody crosses because everybody's, and that's why Trump's been saying things like, you know, when the Haitians came in, he was like, they bring diseases even worse. That's what he's talking about.
Not tolerate having a president who is basically the king of the cartels and
the king of the cartels. Well, all right.
Business partner that these cartels have ever had. They're getting filthy rich. This is an intentional operation. They have a network that is massive. It's worldwide, and it even extends. We were told yesterday the cartels extend into the United States, into our U.S. cities, where they recruit.
Wait a minute. Hold on. There are drug dealers in the United States that work with Mexican cartels? When the fuck did this start? If only someone had done a myriad of movies about this shit in the 80s and 90s.
People to come and do.
I haven't seen that documentary series that's on, what's it called? Better Call Saul? But it sounds interesting.
And work for them in the biggest human trafficking, drug trafficking operation in the world.
Not quite. Middle East, India, Pakistan, way bigger, but sure.
It's happening on our border.
What this president has done is, I've said it again, I'll keep saying it's treasonous. If we don't yank this man out of office.
Yeah, you're not going to, Dan. You're being silly.
Charge him and his entire regime with something. When Republicans get back in charge, you're going to have a lot of upset Americans.
Yeah, totally. Very. Yeah, lock him up. Lock him up. That'll happen.
Oh, yeah. I want to switch gears because only a few.
Yeah, we can't only talk about, a violent coup to overthrow using trumped up legal ideas of what it means to, not solve a problem the way I think the problem should be solved versus being part of the problem or intentionally creating the problem. All that aside, let's talk about, you like riding bicycles, right?
Left, but I want to touch on it. You were on last Monday's show a little over a week ago, and we talked about that BS hearing you had to do come, what was it, Friday? So 4
the Marjorie Perjury Taylor Greene, right?
days ago, where they're trying to boot you off the ballot because, oh, God forbid, they didn't like a tweet you sent, and they think that you're a big orchestrator of January 6's insurrection, as they call.
Well, no, I think it's more than just tweets or whatever. Obviously, discovery would have been a better thing, but.
So what's happening with this hearing? I mean, the judge recommends to the Secretary of State, and then the Secretary of State can take that recommendation and decide whether or not to leave you on the ballot come the midterms, or how does that work?
Well, I think the great thing, I was upset first that this was even going to be shown live on television, but actually I'm so glad it was shown live on television because the entire world got to see what liars these attorneys are. And
yeah, I don't think that's how it came across. I'm sure the people that were there, in Trump gear to support you saw it that way, and I'm sure you see it that way in a sort of a hopeful way.
How desperate they are to hold on to power and push their radical leftist progressive agenda on the United States. And they're liars. They call themselves free speech for people, but yet they were able to come down to Georgia from New York and Massachusetts, wherever they live, and invade our state and try to
invade our state. Everything's an invasion. You get invaded, and you get an invasion, and you get an invasion, and you get an infection.
Over our ballots and try to control who is on the ballot. Well, my district is so upset. So I had the opportunity. I had to go into that hearing, but I was there, and I'm glad I went to defend my voters' rights. My district has rights to vote and choose whoever they want to represent them.
Right, but there's not going to be a primary. Like basically as an incumbent, the party is keeping another Republican. They might want to vote for another Republican, but they don't have a choice. You're the only Republican choice because you hold the seat and the party is protecting you. So,
Not these attorneys.
That's right.
They had no business in it. So I think I'll fail, and I feel very confident.
I think you will too, and judging by your last election, since you won by 80-some% of the vote, I'm pretty sure your constituents want you back on the ballot. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, God bless you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Did she say fuck you, Dan? Don't make me start liking her all of a sudden. I'm kidding. But you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Somebody needs to share this clip once it becomes a clip with Danny Balls. Because Danny, you are completely letting Abbott off the hook and not going after Operation Lone Star for entirely political reasons, which effectively makes you a political hack, which supposedly you guys in independent media, and you're not part of the Beltway establishment, you're supposed to be above all that. But apparently it's the same ball gargling you hear everywhere else. Just letting you know. Hi. In case anybody passes this clip on to you. That said, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. And I'm here every day in the afternoons and some days in the mornings. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I do a morning show, just, because I enjoy it. And then on days like today, yeah, it's a little later than it was. Well, actually, we were on time this morning, but I had to get out a little early, but I didn't. I shaved 4 minutes off the show to get to my meeting, which was great. And it was so great, it made this, just fingers crossed, kids. Career-wise, yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff happening. Getting back over here, considering the traffic was a bit difficult. And so, hopefully, I can. I'll finish up in a couple of minutes. Since we start at 4, I'll finish at 6. I think that's reasonable. Thank you, Foggy, by the way. And then tonight, Viper Room, 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. I go on stage. I thought it was 9, but it's 10. It's the Viper Room. It's kind of a late venue, and very excited about that. Nerd Halen tonight, Viper Room. The probably once and only time we will perform at the Viper, which is very exciting. So. Fingers crossed, everybody will enjoy it, and we'll have a great time, and yada yada. Cool. Somebody's on my porch. I'll deal with that later. Look at it. These are the parts of the future that I really love, by the way. All right. So, We found out that Danny Balls doesn't have any. We found out that Ben Shapiro's suggestions for what Elon Musk should do with Twitter, a guy who made, is worth $200 billion and decided to spend 44 of it buying a social media website because he can, should listen to Ben Shapiro and tell him to do 3 things that would be borderline ridiculous wastes of time. And the 4th thing, which is fire everybody, would be a lunatic exaggeration of executive power in any business. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. But when it comes to just dumb, we're dealing with right now with heightened elements in tensions all over the world, dealing with Ukraine. The Germans are now saying that they're going to be off of Russian oil, not by the end of the year as they earlier said, but in a matter of days. Russia is threatening and is turning off gas to Poland and Moldova because they refuse to pay in rubles. Or you could just say Poland and Moldova are going, we don't want your gas because we're not paying you in rubles. Fuck you. And that was that. But it's interesting how everybody phrases that. That's a curious thing to me. It's a very Jimmy Dore way of looking at the world. But when it comes to, like, the super dum-dums that are out there, what more could you want than Alex Jones? Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. Back in the seat after a while. Honestly, looking like a CG balloon version of himself. This is the road to nuclear war, Russia officially at war with NATO. Officially. Now, what would that mean officially? Well, officially it would mean that NATO and Russia both agree that they are at war. NATO agrees on no such thing. As a matter of fact, they're taking every step to distance themselves from the actual activity of war, even if they are supplying arms and support and protecting their own borders just in case these guys decide to, spread out, and in case the Russians get tired of fucking up in one country, they can fuck up in 3. So, Alex seems to think that, that qualifies as NATO being at war. And why? Because Russia says they are, and that's good enough for him.
That studies warfare and how warfare explodes.
Hold on.
Anybody that studies warfare and how...
Anybody. Okay, yeah, I couldn't tell what the first word was. Anybody that studies warfare. Anybody? Anybody?
Warfare explodes
warfare.
And spirals out of control.
Uh-huh.
Would know that historically, what has gone to full world war is now happening again, where each side keeps escalating in the fight. Heavier weapons, more armies are pumped in, and then finally you're in all-out war. But
yeah, that's also how every big internalized war between 2 small countries has eventually gotten to a point and collapsed, and one side has won or lost too. Like at some point in every war, both sides are ratcheting up, right? Isn't that how a war works? It's like a boxing match. At some point, somebody's going to try and knock somebody out. And this is so stupid.
The NATO power.
Jesus Christ, man. Get a lozenge. Global emergency. Oh, this is their own. I love when people put their own fucking headlines on stuff. As I said. Global emergency. Russia says it's officially at war with NATO. Warns nuclear Armageddon imminent. Watch live. This doesn't sound like clickbait or anything. Yeah, no, I'm totally in.
Russia, and the foreign minister has already announced what the Pentagon admitted weeks ago.
Fuck, man. What do you gargle broken glass before every show?
I told you about before the war even started officially, that U.S. forces, tens of thousands of special operations troops.
Also, by the way, if you want to know what the fuck is up with his voice besides shouting and damage of talking for a long time, it's acid reflux. That's what acid reflux does to your voice. That's what that is. You can fix it. You can work on it. The best way is change your diet. But that's acid reflux.
Are in Poland and in Ukraine directing the attacks on the Russians.
No, they're not. That's bullshit. That's Russian propaganda. They're not directing them. They're feeding them intel. They're giving them gear. Have at it.
So the Russian foreign minister, Lavrov,
that poor man,
went public last night and said, we are at war with NATO. NATO's at war with us.
Well, that makes it official. If Russia says it's so, guys. Come on. Whatever standard they set, that they beat the drum, we all dance.
This is going to escalate very quickly into a nuclear war.
Just toss that up like I'll have breadsticks. It's going to escalate into a nuclear war. Also, he gets the check.
You think that would be bigger news? It's in some newspapers, but it should be the top story everywhere. That's a big deal.
Really?
We have reached...
Thank you. By the way, that's his version of a rim shot, I think.
Level of danger that is just completely unprecedented.
This coming from the guy who said there's like baby spine juice drinking lizards running the government. You'd think he'd be happier than a pig in slop.
You look at how the frog in the pot works.
Oh, for fuck's sake, the boiling pot analogy. Boy, is that shit jumped. At what point did a shark jump the frog in the boiling pot?
Successive approximation or incrementalism.
Everything, like, the more you... Y poco natito solo.
As tyranny accelerates and expands.
As tyranny accelerates and expands, give it to us, big boy. Hit us with the big philosophy.
And is not reversed.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, yes, of course. If tyranny escalates without being reversed. Okay, I would have assumed we meant that, but silly me, I don't know how this works.
We become accustomed to it and then basically accept it.
Yes, yeah, that's what it is. It ratchets up really quick, and we're like, I'm so used to this. I don't even know what it was like to not be on the edge of nuclear war. I kind of like it.
The Russian foreign minister came out in a national TV announcement.
Wow, that's bold. Because Putin, considering Putin's feelings towards gay people.
It's coming up, and warned of imminent nuclear war.
He looks well. Another one of their own headlines.
He said that Russia is at war with NATO and that there is now a real chance the conflict will turn nuclear. Kremlin Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned.
Sergei, would you like an espresso or a cappuccino? I can make it with a little lemon twist. It's good. You should try it, No, it's not too much trouble. No, of course not. Don't be stupid.
That's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's big. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. If only I, as a Gen Xer, had lived through a time when the Russians threatened us with nuclear annihilation, I would know what that's like. Gosh, I can hardly remember a time when the Soviets or the Russians threatened us with nuclear annihilation. Did that ever happen? Or did I dream it?
Pretty big deal. Germany responded by reversing their ban on heavy weapons like tanks and helicopters.
So apparently they don't buy it.
And is now going to ship those in with crews to train the Ukraine.
I love his sights, man. And there's so much you can tell about this dickhead by the sights he does. First of all, everything's fake news. And then he's got fucking Washington Post articles all over his fucking desk. And he's like, see, it's here. You can read it right there. It's written right there. You're like, motherfucker, it's either fake news or it isn't. You can't tell me that the establishment media has been manipulating and propagandizing everyone to the nth degree. Because this isn't even like, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. This motherfucker thinks they're run by lizards, basically. So the fact that he has their articles in his stack, like, see, told you, is insane.
And so direct war
zero hedge, fuck off.
Between NATO, the U.S., and Russia. And they
look at the zero hedge. Look at the article written by Tyler Durden. The picture of Brad Pitt. Yeah, this is honest. That's the kind of nom de plume I trust. That's not a sock puppet.
Bragg, the CIA and Green Berets and the Navy SEALs are all over there.
Yeah, that's fucking hell.
and this is just absolutely accelerated. And it was our military working with George Soros that overthrew
what?
the Ukrainian government 8 years ago. And
what? Our military working with the Ukrainian government, even Dore doesn't go this far. This is hilarious. Working with George Soros overthrew the Ukrainian government 8 years ago. So Yanukovych is the good guy because he thinks Soros is an evil monster. So clearly this means that Alex Jones is Team Yanukovych, okay? And maybe a bit of Team Poroshenko.
Russia doesn't want regime change on its border.
Oh, that's what it was. They're just reacting to some shit that happened 8 years ago. Regime change. You mean they don't want elections? Fuck you.
Say what you want about Vladimir Putin.
Okay. Yeah, where do we start? He's morally bankrupt, grotesque. He's obviously a murderer who's done it by hand and by fiat multiple times. He apparently shares the same love of stimulants and prednisone that you do, and that's why you both have the same bloat. I think he might be addicted to Pervitin, but that's my own feeling based on his shaky physical stature right now. And of course, I think he's got a Hitlerian view of the world, but thank God it's only in terms of geography and not humanity, because that's the only thing keeping him from nuking the Earth, because he wants to live here and enjoy it. Oh, and he's not attractive and gross, especially now. I mean, when he was younger, hey, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but now he looks pretty awful, and so do you. You look kind of the same kind of awful, which is weird.
The United States would not put up with anything close to this on our borders.
Well, we had a Spanish-American War and a Mexican-American War, and we have established strong borders in that regard, and we're not seeking to take over land in those other countries. So what the fuck are you talking about? Also, that's their border too, fucko. You only own one side of a border. Why the fuck should Ukraine have to put up with this shit on their border? Why the fuck, once Russia started moving shit to the Ukrainian border on their side, why didn't Ukraine go, we don't have to put up with this shit on our border, we're invading Russia? Where the fuck does that have? Like, who cares? Kind of macho bullshit. Oh, it's frozen again. Jerkweed.
Any sane nation will not do that. Anybody that studies warfare and how warfare...
Oh, he does this fucking loop. Sorry. Oh, and they're fucking selling t-shirts. Imminent, yeah. This is like on a loop. It's weird.
They're dark rat holes.
Uh-oh. We missed a stupid... Okay, t-shirts. Liberty or death. Don't tread on me. His fucking thing. Like, first of all, that shirt wouldn't fit Alex because his diet's too fucked up. And he's bloated in a way that has nothing to do with fat. It's water retention. It's totally unhealthy. He's inflamed like a motherfucker. Liberty or death. Obviously, he has chosen, instead of a slow liberty, to a slow death.
Global emergency. Russia says it's officially at war with NATO.
Is he just reread these things in different voices for clips?
Warns nuclear Armageddon imminent. As our borders collapse,
our border's not collapsed.
Value of our currency is annihilated.
The what of our currency? Hold on.
Annihilated. As the pedophiles come out of...
Jesus Christ, hold on. Back up.
As the value of our currency is annihilated.
The value of our currency isn't annihilated. The dollar's going up, you fucking moron.
As the pedophiles come out of their dark rat holes.
Well, you have a better view of them than I do, apparently. What are you, their landlord?
We are here still.
Well, of course you are. You guys, don't you guys coordinate together? Then they go, we're coming out of our Alex, we'll be coming out of our rat holes tomorrow at 2. Just get your cameras ready. And then we'll both make money. You fight us and we'll fight you. It'd be great.
Begging the public to reach out to God.
Reach out to God. How would one go about that? Besides, I mean, obviously, being a good and decent Christian and not casting hateful aspersions on other people and talking shit for a living, which is obviously out of the question.
And ask for the Holy Spirit to come into us.
What the fuck? When? All right, God damn it. No pun intended. He's just co-opting megachurch language because it's a way to make money. Is this? I mean, this is what happens when you look at your insights and you go, people who watched you also watched fucking Kenneth Copeland.
And drive the evil out of our own hearts and minds and souls.
Okay, job 1. Get at it. I haven't seen any progress in that area, but I've got faith in you, Alex. You bastard. Go for it.
So that we can be lights in the dark.
Lights in the dark. The horror.
To save the innocents.
Yeah, that's what you're there to do. Lights in the darks to save the innocents. You mean like the Sandy Hook kids, you fucking tool?
And
save them so that, none of anybody who hung out with Jeffrey Epstein shouldn't be anywhere near a child. That's why I'm golfing with Trump this weekend.
Save ourselves.
Huh? Did I actually say that? Did that come out of my mouth? I mean, honestly. Glenn, roll that tape back. Did I? Goodness. This is my thinking face.
Everything we witness now.
Everything.
Is only the beginning.
Wouldn't the second thing you witness... I'm confused. How do you... Everything we witness now is only beginning. How do you start back? Is everything a new beginning? How is evil going to get a head start if it keeps having to go back to the starting line? I don't understand. Shave our shelves, yes.
It's the beginning of the end.
Oh, all right. Well, that clarifies it. Everything we see is the beginning, and then the next thing we see the beginning, but the last thing that begun ended, so we're at a new beginning, and then that'll end too when everything you observe. Okay, I got it. Okay, cool. Do I have to keep a list?
Which is the beginning of the new start.
Oh, good. All right. So that's great. Let me get this straight. Everything we see is a beginning, and it leads, of course, to the end, because this is the beginning of the end, which is at the end of the beginning, which begins the new start. Fuck me. This asshole has made millions of dollars off the fucking tools that follow him. Selling them dick pills and pancake batter in giant tubs and prepper survival food and vitamin B and all with lead in it. Fuck you. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that keeps you riveted. Right, InfoWar crowd? Shit. Like, God save us from dipshits trying to appear profound. Guys, please. Can we all together hum the national anthem while Alex says this?
Everything we witness now is only the beginning. It's the beginning of the end, which is the beginning of the new start.
This is the new start. Fuck me. What the hell? I can't. What is that? What is this? What is this fucking thing? Look at this. All right. I was about to rant on, like, look at the amount of gear this fucker has. Look at the set. Look at all the money that is spent on this. This is, look at there were dozens of dollars spent at Fiverr on these quality graphics. This is a custom desk he had made by a company in China that does semi-custom desks. Fuck me. Yes, Leslie. Not only did he post this, because he does a fucking 3-hour show or whatever all the time, but he posted this. He was like, this is good. Grab it. This is the part that, this is the part that will shake the very foundations of the fucking hell. I gotta sing tonight. I can't do this shit.
Will we survive is the question.
Who's we, dum-dum? Because I've seen the court stuff that's going on. You're fucked. I mean, this does have an air of, like, we just had to declare bankruptcy across all of our organizations. This might be our last show about it. But it's also a pitiful way to fucking raise money for his bullshit cause.
The orchestrated collapse of civilization is here.
Oh, well, at least isn't technically, point of order, Mr. Chairman, if you orchestrate the collapse and there's an organization that orchestrates it, isn't that in and of itself a form of civilization? Sort of a reset button, but ultimately an orchestration speaks to some sort of civilized activity. If it's a, chaos destroys society, then obviously civilization is gone. But if another civilization goes, which both sides of the political spectrum have argued for at different times, clearly that is just listen to me. Look who I'm talking to, Mr. SATs.
We are now deep into the first phases of it.
Deep into the first phase of the beginning of the end, which is the end of the beginning of the new start. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm sick of playing chutes and ladders with this asshole.
There is no reverse.
That's right, Templeton. It's the circle of life, and it kills us all.
Of the collapse.
I'm over here. You're looking in the wrong camera. Psst. There I am. No, wrong one. Look at the monitor.
The only question is, how bad is it going to get?
Let's see. How bad is it going to get? Well, let me tell you, it's not going to get London during the Blitz bad, and it's not going to be as easy as a yacht deck in Wolf of Wall Street, but it's going to be somewhere between. It's the final countdown. We're leaving together, but still it's farewell, and maybe he'll come fat to earth, who can tell, yeah.
I don't come up.
Yeah, by the way, the original notes, no warm-up, even after I sang like crazy last night. I'm just saying. You're welcome.
And try to scare you. And I don't.
Well, I'm glad you're not trying, because you would be failing miserably. I am not afraid. And by the way, if you are an alleged Christian like you think, be not afraid is one of the sort of key tenets surviving the rapture for dummies. That's basically what the show is now, yeah.
Up here and tell you these things.
Uh-huh.
If there isn't hope. But you better get right with God.
Yes, I don't want you to think the end of the world is coming, but be ready to die. Shut the fuck up.
You better get your head screwed on.
Okay.
And realize that
okay, after I get my head screwed on? Okay.
BS doesn't matter.
Yeah, the BS doesn't matter. All that paper on your desk, all your bullshit, all your flailing over the years, there are shapeshifters among us, none of that matters, right, Alex? Tell us that everything you have said up to this point has been a mix of grift and bullshit and ignorant flailing based on paranoid delusions. And I appreciate you saying that and admitting to it, considering the circumstance we're in. Thank you, Steve. Oh, gotta jump over this thing again.
Here's Reuters.
Here's Freuders. Freuders? There's a lot of dead air today.
and realize that petty BS doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Again, this show is petty BS. I know,
Reuters
calling line too.
Russian foreign minister says Russia will continue Ukraine war until the end, including
yes, of them.
Of nuclear weapons.
Yeah, we've seen that. You keep reading your own.
Is at war with NATO.
It's, by the way, thanks for listing this, by the way, under occult and globalists. It's good that they categorize this. Now, NATO, and by the way, NATO are the globalists in this, just so you know, and the occultists. This dude right here, Sergei Lavrov, yeah, he's not talking about him. He's the victim in all this.
And there is now a real chance the conflict will turn nuclear. Kremlin Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned.
Sergei.
Russia warns of nuclear war. Ukraine war. Russia warns of nuclear conflict.
By the way, Daily Mail. He's reading the fucking Daily Mail.
Conflict with the West. In a major reversal after war.
Fuck, man. Are you just looping through
nuclear
this?
War. Germany approves tanks for Ukraine.
This is an 11-minute, 28-second clip, and it just... Is he just that repetitive all fucking day?
Germany to supply Ukraine with heavy weaponry.
Heavy weaponry? Heavy weaponry? All right, sure. These are Jesus tanks.
Remember how the last...
Oh, look, there's the same article again.
German war went.
I'm sorry, remember what?
Supply Ukraine with heavy weaponry.
Heavy weaponry? Heavy weaponry. Somebody get boss another stimulant.
Remember how the last German war went?
Yes, I do. Also, I also remember the decades since then when Germany is a totally different country. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? The area you live in was controlled by the Aztecs at one point. What's your point?
And then U.S. Blinken, Secretary of State, says Russia is failing in its war aims, Ukraine succeeding.
You sound sad. And by the way, that's from Reuters. Again, how the fuck... They do this on Newsmax all the time. They're constantly... Ben Shapiro does it. They're all like, the New York Times is bullshit. The Washington Post is all liberal shit. None of these are trustworthy. All of them are fake. And then they end up... Like, you look at the stack of news on their desk that they go through and go, see, told you, it's all the mainstream media. They're like, told you, look what it says in the mainstream media. I must be right. Fucking hell. It is a creepy angle, Leslie. I get this. It's like a crafts YouTube channel gone wrong. Just, yeah, get a good shot of him stacking paper. Someone took my stapler. It has my name on it. My stapler. They moved my desk down to the basement.
Yeah, Satan's succeeding right now.
Oh, all right. Good to know. Satan is succeeding right now. Is he? And what? And again, think about that statement. Just saying it randomly, but also think about what he means by it. It would require some clarification. Satan is succeeding right now. Vladimir Putin is getting all the help he needs. Well, look at Tiggs calling me. Look at this butt. What's... Hey, buddy. I'm on the air right now.
Oh, okay.
But you're so beloved, I answered anyways.
Oh, okay. What time do you go on?
10.
Tonight. Okay. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Adore you.
Okay,
Talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
And that's sweet. Tiggs, my drummer in 01, and he's a sweet, wonderful human being. All right, here we go.
Taking the world closer to total annihilation.
Okay, and Satan in this would be NATO, I guess, is what you're saying? George Soros and NATO are the Satan in this? Because the dudes actually threatening to blow the fucking world up aren't the NATO guys. You do recognize that, right? So Satan, or is... Putin's a good dude, He's just got demons. Demons are taking over him. They're casting spells upon him.
While Biden has been blocked at least for a week by a federal court saying he cannot remove the federal law saying that you have to at least check people's IDs to see that they're not smuggling drugs or kidnapped children or women.
That's not what 42 is about. It's about testing. It's automatically expelling people based on for health reasons and making them stay in their host country or in Mexico until such time as you can process them outside the country because of the idea that they might carry a contagious disease. It's not about checking ID. Motherfucker, refugees don't have IDs most of the time. That's part of why it's difficult. The Biden administration wants them to bring in children. Fuck off.
Or they're not carrying illegal weapons.
What kind of... you don't mean guns, do you? Because this is America. Anybody who brings a gun in, automatic citizen.
Or they don't have a damn third world disease.
A third world disease. Yeah, we only want people with first world disease. You know, anxiety and depression, psychological stuff. The kind of stuff that you'd see in a Woody Allen movie. Other upper class. We like the upper class diseases, not this Ebola bullshit.
That, by the way, are exploding all over the United States.
Well, that's because obviously third world diseases are way more contagious than second world diseases. I mean, do any of them itch? I have a couple questions. Putin boasts devastating Satan II nuclear missile can break through any defenses and will be ready to strike in months. Yeah, good luck.
We have 2 crew members out right now who got third world diseases in the last week.
So tell me about the 2 InfoWars staffers who on a crazy night out in El Paso ended up with the clap. Please, tell me how it burns when they pee.
Stuff you never heard of.
Oh, and stuff I've never... I don't know, I've heard of a lot. Try me.
And that's because we're being purposely collapsed.
We're being purposely collapsed with third world diseases that you've never heard of. What diseases were they? Just honestly, list of symptoms. I think we can figure it out.
That's the doomsday cult.
That's the doomsday cult that are forcing InfoWars correspondents to go to a Tijuana strip club and pick up the drip.
That's what they've set up.
That's what they've set up, and we fell for it.
That's what they've done to us.
Is it? They did that to you? They made you sleep with that woman? They made you get scabies because you slept over at Steve's house on his fucking futon, which I told you was filthy?
And it's only going to get worse until we...
Well, until you actually get a shot, I suppose. Chlamydia. It's chlamydia, syphilis, gonorrhea, syphilis in bug form.
Stop it.
Stop it. I'd go with penicillin. Start there and work your way back.
Until we take back our governments in reverse course.
Take back our governments in reverse from our governments. Wait a minute. Multiple? Are you a dual citizen?
Till the bureaucrats and the corporate minions and everybody following illegal orders stop doing it.
Yeah, knock it off, guys. Okay. I'm done. Stop letting... If George Soros calls, don't pick up the phone. Jesus Christ. And then what? What's this ad for? Alex Jones was right. About what? Oh, it's shoe on head. Why is she wearing one of the shirts? The fuck is that? Is shoe on head in this? Oh, Alex Jones was right, Jar. I see. That's a joke that she has on her show.
Nuts until the election was stolen, and then it was like somebody gave her smelling salts. Boom, she woke up. So I would tell her, I'm like, you know what? This dude's got the hand of God on him for sure. And in all the chat rooms...
Oh, yeah, totally. He's got the hand of God on him. Everything he says is totally the shit, man. It's totally real. It's great.
Brother, I believe you. That's the magic of it. And I'm not just right. The people are always right because we love God. Where do you think this world's going, brother?
Man, I started reading the Bible this year. I'm in the Lamentations of Jeremiah right now, and I don't know if God's going to save us one more time, but I encourage everybody to read the Bible. To me, that's our human history, and it's just repetitive. God gives you the great earth and the animals and this and that, and people go against them, worship false idols, do evil things, and any...
Oh, like that gold statue of Trump at CPAC?
Slams you, and he's going to test you with Satan, just like Job. Everybody should...
Well, I should hope so. That sounds like fun.
In the book of Job, you're going to get slaughtered.
Well, I mean, why would he create the devil if not to tempt me with it? Right? You're not God unless you created everything. If you created everything, you're responsible for everything. You have the only response. You are the only responsible body. I can't be responsible. I'm human. I'm mortal. I live and die. I can't stop the existence of the devil. And you set him loose on me. That's rude. And you had to put him in her body. Sorry. No, that was it. That was the end of it. They just kind of jumped back to the thing, and that's it. Sergey. He can't even pronounce Sergey Lavrov's name. Fuck me. All right. Well, here's the thing, too. Why does the camera keep... I want to focus. Focus. It should be on... Maybe I need to set it on manual focus or something, because it doesn't seem to... I don't know why... Can't... There we go. That's how I do it, with my finger. Like, draw the focus to my face, and then I gotta sit still. Because if I move forward or back, it'll take me out of focus. This is what happens. This is the road gear. Thank you, by the way. Thank you, patrons. I'm going to be replacing some of this stuff soon. It will be very nice to be able to have an actual rig that will work and make the show kind of the same everywhere I go without this, like, the crawling ants around me in my green screen cutout. I'm trying to get past that point. Wish me luck. Patreon.com/HalSparks. Let's see. I got, quite frankly, hold on. Let me do one thing real quick. I'm going to jump back to my own single shot. Hi, everybody. You're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. I appreciate it. Thanks for spending time with me. Thanks for sharing this. Thanks for spreading the word or subscribing. Just hit the like button, all that kind of stuff. Do it today. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I've got a little time, and I was late anyways. We don't have time for all of this. It's just not possible.
We were just...
Hold on. But can we do like a few minutes of this? It's our favorite ass pastors. That's right. It's Flashpoint, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we got Gene the Jesus Machine over there. We got Lanny Walnuts. And we got Hank Cooney Coon, the kookiest pastor you'll ever see, who has a Lend-Lease program with Ben Shapiro for their custody of the eyebrows. It's a bad time to be woke. Americans and Christians are pushing back. Let's hear it. It's a bad time to be woke.
Together in Tulsa, Oklahoma last week,
where Oral Roberts saw an 800-foot Jesus that told him that if his supporters didn't give him $1 million in the next 9 days, God would kill him.
What a week we had.
Oh, it's a crazy week. I mean, Lanny Walnuts didn't even have time to get his toupee on straight. It's sitting back further than usual.
Amazing time. It was wild.
It was wild. In fact,
wild. I was so party. I turned my head so fast, my toupee stood still.
If you weren't there and you've been living under a rock and you need to know what it...
Afghanistan, actually, I think is what you guys.
Been last week. I want to show you just a quick recap of what happened last Thursday and Friday at Flashpoint Live, Tulsa.
Uh-oh. This was exciting. It's like we're getting a front row seat at Flashpoint. Full disclosure, I'm trying to get my agent to book me some stand-up around Tulsa so that I can sneak over in Hank's church and watch a sermon and see if I can get an interview. Shh. Oh, I'm sure that money couldn't have been better spent.
I love everything about Flashpoint. First of all, it keeps us all unified and moving together as...
Yes, that's the important thing. It's kind of the line dancing of Jesus.
A Flashpoint army to be able to...
Oh, an army. That's how Jesus would want you to be regarding yourself. The Flashpoint army. Congregation's not a good enough word.
Stay in faith and to continue to pray and intercede for victory, which is going to happen because America is going to be saved.
Christians need something like this that they can stand up, support, have people that are backing them and support it for them as well. And so we all need to rally together and stand around the walls of Jericho and have something to fight for as unity.
Didn't the walls of Jericho fall a long time ago? Hey, what are you here for? I really don't know.
Flashpoint tells you the truth, and it's from
that's Kenneth Copeland. So that's the dude who did the whole thing about like caught shit because he had multiple planes and all that kind of stuff. He owns this. He runs it. It's his organization. This is all his doing. These guys are all like middle managers.
Spirit of God that they put this word out for us.
Spirit of God that they put these word out for us. All right. By the way, if Trump sees this, he's going to be pissed.
And I believe that there is...
Tax-free. Just saying. This is an absolute political gathering, loosely dusted with religious words.
A mark of God that will come upon your life.
They're going to comb upon my life? I prefer a brush. My hair is pretty long now.
That will preserve your...
Oh, it's like the formaldehyde of Jesus.
Marriage will preserve your finances, will preserve your family.
In like jars or something?
Will preserve our...
Jesus Christ. Can we preserve Mario?
I want us to lift up our voices. We demand...
That's not a good hand gesture, kids. That doesn't look the way you think. I would pick a different angle.
Our nation.
Yeah, see, she's got it right. Keep your hand flat and kind of in an arc up. That's okay.
Lift up our voice.
I mean, that's what Hitler did. But at least you won't, people will understand that you're just feeling it. That doesn't look good at all. That looks pretty bad. Hey, dumb mustache guy. Flat hand. It's praise. You're supposed to be opening. As a matter of fact, put your hands down by your sides and open them up to receive. This kind of stuff is a little weird.
Demand that there is a...
Let me get this on film. Please, get a shot of Kenneth. He's so much sexy.
In the spirit realm, over the...
This is, by the way, who you're hearing right now doing this preaching. That's him. That's Hank Cooney-Coon.
We demand...
That's Mario. Or sorry, that's Lanny Walnuts.
Winds of change.
And Gene the Jesus Machine is chucking hats now.
Blow greater. If there is a tangible shift that we will...
There's a tangible shit that what?
See it with our eyes. And
see, yeah, drift your hand to the right. Hands open, that's not bad. If you're doing your praising things. If you feel this, I don't have a problem with people's spiritual practice. You're doing yoga. Your body position matters. But the hand gesture that some of them were doing, I find a bit concerning.
Now may your eyes be open to see a fresh perspective.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. You're not going to be allowed to touch Hank again. Not after the last time.
God is doing and what God has said.
They're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and this motherfucker's got his hands in his pockets. Infidel!
Jesus' name.
Oh, there's a band, too. I could do a couple of songs. What do you think? Where are the Blacks for Trumps? They wouldn't be there. They are Black Hebrew Israelites. They don't believe in... they think Black Jesus is a false god. For the record.
God wants you.
Well, that's exciting. I should have dressed a little more. I didn't realize I was dressing that sexy. But now that you mention it, I do feel like I have a kind of energy that is attractive right now.
He wants you to have the power and hope. If we're going to take America back, we're going to...
What if does he want me to have the power and hope if I don't decide to take America back? She's very upset.
Cover something. After we vote the right people...
Why is that guy wanting to fist Hank? I mean, the rest of these people are feeling it, but this guy, that's a bit much. Moon. Sorry. I have to... Where's my... Sometimes I've got so much shit on my screen, I can't even see my...
River.
I can't even see my cursor.
In after we make all of the right moves, we...
Wait, they're gonna remake All the Right Moves? I love that film!
A moral awakening. A profound awakening of heart. What is going on? The deliverance from perverted demons, perverted spirits.
Both? Ooh. Oh dear. Is she one of the perverted demons and
begins by...
You know, when my kid gets a hold of a marker...
Being born again. Truly knowing Christ and being forgiven of all your sin.
Well, most of them. I have like an 80-20 agreement with God.
What a night.
Oh, it's great. It was so great. Dude, I'm still so fucking drunk.
What a couple of nights it really was.
Yeah, I mean, they bled into one another. I like, whew.
You know, Pastor Hank, I'll go to you. You've had a little time to process what happened on...
Yeah, sorry, you're getting squashed, Lanny Walnuts.
Thursday and Friday. Give me your wrap up. What do you think?
Yeah, how was that? What did the Lord say to you that you said to that large group of people in terms... He's a prophet, by the way, in case you don't know. All these guys, except I don't think Gene the Jesus Machine considers himself a prophet. He does. All the other guys absolutely do. They believe the word of God is spoken through them and that they tell the future, which in the Bible is a sin, but don't let that... All right.
You know, Pastor Gene, first of all, it was such an honor to be with God there and with...
Yeah, he's not... It's the first time I've ever run into God. I don't really see him when I'm out and about.
And the rest of the Flashpoint team.
He really only goes to, like, sanctioned buildings now.
And also a great honor to be with Brother Copeland and KCM. It was just...
You mean the guy who pays for everything?
Mario Murillo and, of course, Lance.
Of course, Lance. I mean, of course.
I think made it special is the presence of God, you know.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I'm glad he was there then. Shit. If he hadn't shown up, they would have blown it for everything.
Moses said something very amazing. He said, God, unless your presence goes with us. And so there's something very...
God, unless your presence goes with us. I got nothing.
Significant about the backing of the presence of the Lord when he shows up. It means...
When he shows up. I mean, sometimes, let's be honest, Hank, he doesn't always show. I mean, he definitely showed up when you were buying that fucking watch. Jesus Christ. They couldn't put a watch band on Big Ben? Motherfucker, look at that thing. It's not a watch, it's a fucking sundial.
Right in line with what heaven is doing and where heaven...
Yeah, that's good. I like when God coordinates with the locals.
...is going. And so the best way to describe it is God was there and...
Yeah, so you've said. What was he wearing?
Something began to shift over this nation.
Oh my God, God's been shifting all over the nation?
Really, something tangible of the presence of the Holy Spirit came up.
Oh, something tangible. You mean you could touch it physically? It existed. It was tangible. Literally? Literally tangible? No? Whoops, it froze again. Sorry, my bad. It does this whenever I play the videos. Play again, you dummy. It always jumps.
We want to see, but I want to see you there. We plan to move these around the country as much as possible and be where we...
Hold on.
The presence of the Lord, when he shows up, it means you're right in line with what heaven is doing and where heaven is going. And so the best way to describe it is God was there, and something began to shift over this nation, but really something tangible of the presence of the Holy Spirit came upon the people that were there. And I'm just excited for future.
Did you pass out wet naps?
Because we are taking our nation back.
Okay, that was, he literally said nothing. I'm just saying if I was God, and I'm not saying I'm not, because how would I know? But if I was God, I would be mildly offended.
We are taking our nation back, and we saw thousands there in attendance that agreed with that. They're ready to...
Yeah, the same people you saw last time, and the time before that.
Nation back. Lance, you had a unique perspective. I want you to share.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. He looks like a guy with a unique perspective.
That what you thought about the
Did you photobomb God? Yeah. Was there ball tanning?
I think that the great alchemy that we've been talking about that is...
Excuse me? Alchemy? That's science, bordering on witchcraft. What the fuck are you talking about?
...going to be unique is that the people are coming out for something a little bit different than an evangelism rally, although that's...
Right, because they don't go to those anymore because that requires them to behave like Christians. They come to this thing for basically to be washed in political bullshit.
We end up doing. It's actually...
Yes, I am not an alchemist. I'm a halchemist.
The populist awakening. And...
Right, it's political. Right, I agree. You should be taxed.
You know that.
Yes, while churches should remain tax-free, in my estimation, you are no longer a church. This is all bullshit. Thanks for outing everyone. Way to fuck it up for everybody, Lanny.
Because some 25% of the people attending answered the altar call. And so this wasn't an altar call for rededicating your life. This was an altar call to giving your life. And if you can think about that, if you've got 10,000 people in the arena and 2,500 are responding, that tells us...
Yeah, they drive people in. The smaller, like, subsidiary churches, they walk people through it, but then when they go, we're going to take you and you can dedicate your life there at the big mega church because they don't have a baptismal area in the smaller churches because they're these little, like strip mall churches. So they all go in buses. That's why there's a big line out front. That's how these mega churches work.
I've been saying all along that we probably have 25 million people out there that are politically concerned about the destiny of America, culturally worried, and that
out of 340 million,
they're going to respond to the gospel. It's an alchemy that has never really been
alchemy. Weird again.
Worked at before. Most religious leaders and Christian leaders avoid controversial subjects. They just...
Well, no, they talk about controversial subjects all the time because they deal with things like addiction and sexual depravity and blah, blah, blah. Like they talk about it all the time. The part they avoid is going directly into overt electioneering because it's illegal.
Focus of the gospel. But the arenas aren't going to be coming out to Trump and aren't going to be coming out to Flashpoint because their goal is to hear the Billy Graham sermon.
Yeah, because fuck that, right?
Their goal is to hear a prophetic perspective.
You love Hall & Oates? Is that, Audrey, did that just come out of nowhere? Did I miss that part of the conversation?
On what we have to do to be saved as a nation.
Sarah smiles.
And when that happens, and a quarter of the people respond to the realization that they need Christ, you have an awakening. You have
or these people are already primed to do it because that's why they went there. And this happens almost every time. I'm going to need the figures. I'm going to need how many people who normally get baptized at these bigger things. And if it was a full baptism, I'm doubting you were fully dunking these people. I call bullshit.
Civic awakening and a spiritual awakening.
Oh, Chip's not here. Sorry, I'm in LA. I miss him.
It's the alchemy that we're working on now.
Again, that word. Why does he think that's good?
That if it's
She's a man-eater.
in other cities becomes a game changer.
Private eyes, they're watching you. They see your every move. They see it. All right.
In terms of engagement of back.
Like, where have I seen that guy? Is it a playground? Hanging out by an ice cream truck? Where have I seen that?
The public square.
So true.
It's just gibberish. Stop saying so true. It's random.
No, you're seeing pictures right there go by.
Of people at the big gathering. You had a big gathering. It happens all the time. You're just competing. Kenneth Copeland is competing with Joel Osteen. That's what this is about.
And one thing that was interesting to me, gentlemen, was all age groups. I mean, we saw everything from little kids on up to...
Yeah, and they came there of their own free will. These children walked. These kids came because they were interested, and not at all because they were dragged by their lunatic, Trumpy parents.
Obviously, senior citizens there.
Obviously.
That were all there for the right reason. They wanted to take their nation back, like Pastor Hank was saying.
Yeah, even the ones who aren't old enough to vote, don't worry, you can fix that.
You know, I did check before we went to...
Is that everybody checking their wallet, by the way? It's time to pass around the bowl.
The broadcast tonight about this and how many did we have saved. They say, well, it's somewhere between 2,500 and 3,000 over those 2 nights.
And how did they get the water out of the carpet?
We could not get to them all.
Well, then you didn't.
Even though they had people, so they had to kind of help them, point them which way to go. So, I mean...
Yeah, so they just sent them to the bathrooms to splash water in their face and go, you're good. Yeah, it's $25, thank you.
In itself...
we charged a very small fee to be baptized.
Is an amazing, and I don't know if video did it justice on that first.
No, definitely not. I didn't feel the majesty of it all. It looked like a giant megachurch like many I've seen before.
Right, where we were sitting on the platform watching not just the altar fill up, but soon those aisles all the way up to the rafters. Every aisle was full.
Yeah.
And man.
Yeah. It's like they're all amazed that people are buying their bullshit.
This is,
I mean, in every direction.
Yeah.
You really couldn't even
hose me. That's what they should have done. They just had a big fire hose. Praise Jesus. Blah, and just hosed him down. You're being hosed down for Jesus. Just turn your face away because you'll drown. Say John 3:16 and then say I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and personal. We had only the 9 drownings.
Hank and I both.
But it's way more efficient than the old way.
Looked at each other. We both had tears in our eyes.
They set off the fire sprinklers and do a mass baptism.
Because we were pivoting around, looking at every aisle, because everything's
going money, 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 money.
Nobody was moving, and I was thinking, well, actually, as many people came forward as could get there, that meant that the aisles were jammed all the way up to the exit signs in every aisle.
Which is, ironically, considering you baptize people in water, a fire hazard.
That it was not just an altar call. I mean, Mario had to improvise. How do you even do this? Because prayer altar workers is useless when you've actually got every aisle jammed. We just
right. This is a mess.
Say we're just going to have to pray with everybody who's standing, and everyone else sit down. But it was like 25% of the.
It was like a Reverend Some Young Moon wedding ceremony.
Was standing up.
Yeah, because God knows that asshole didn't fill a bunch of places.
It was an amazing night. You can try and make it out there.
By the way, there was a shit ton of rededication. There's no fucking... Look at the old people. Look at this old lady right here. She's in the aisle. She's standing up. These are like that. Look at these folks. These aren't fresh baptisms. Get out of here.
A sea of people. And I don't know if you can see in that photo.
Kiss is on my list. Grumpy Cat, by the way, if we're talking Hall & Oates songs, is the song that always makes me think of Star Wars figures. Because when I got my Boba Fett in the mail, because you had to mail away for some of the characters, you had to send them, I think it was $7 and a bunch of the cardboard backings for some of them. You'd mail it in, and you could get the Boba Fett character. And because your kiss is on my list. Because your kiss, I can't resist. That song was on the radio when I got, like, I think probably the day I got it as I was driving home from the post office in town.
Even after the aisles filled up, I started seeing people standing up in their seats. They couldn't get even to the aisle, so they were...
Yes, people who've been baptized before, who are longtime believers, who just want to show off. I bless their hearts. I don't question their faith, but give me a fucking break. This isn't a bunch of, like, I was baptized when I was 11. In our church, you didn't even have to till you were 13. There's no fucking way that these folks, all these folks in this aisle, are first-time baptisms. I'm sorry. Please.
Ending wherever they were at. Now, why is this such a big deal?
Because it's cult-like behavior that's not based on the actual teachings of the Bible, and it's based on you assholes trying to make people think that they were bad Christians before and they're only good Christians who love Donald Trump if they stand up now and are officially baptized in fucking water trap water from one of his golf courses. Oh, I'm Lenny Walnuts, and I cannot lie, I like big butts. And I know the Holy Spirit came on me tangibly, and I need a damp rag. All right. Yeah, save your voice. Thanks. Shit. I can't. This is like, we're almost a third of the way through this bullshit. Hold on. Here we go. Go Victory, FP Live. Let's, hold on. I'll jump to another page and then it'll let me play, and then we'll do it again. 3, 2, 1, and go back, and then we go here. Nope. It's always testy on that type of thing. Go to here, hang out long enough, forget about it. Can't do that. By the way, like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. If you're on Facebook, you can support with stars. And also, hi trolls. I'm glad you guys are enjoying my Ukrainian flag frame. I put that in just for you guys because I know it makes you angry and miserable. I'm kidding. You were angry and miserable to start with. I didn't do that. It's organic. You grew it yourself. Congratulations. You built something. Now build on it. And I want to thank you for being here because you, better than anyone, expand us in the algorithm and are responsible for our Herculean growth over the last couple of months. It's been beautiful, and it's all you. Because you watching us and being all angry and typing things and going, ah, in the chat room is the only thing that expands us past the normal, regular algorithmical bump we get from our ever-growing, lovely crowd of genuine human beings. I'm not saying you're not genuine. I'm just questioning whether you're a human being. You might be a bot, and that's that. Please check Dion on Instagram.
We were just together in Tulsa.
Hold on, back up.
Live event. Now we do know one, and that's coming up July 31st, Fort Worth, Texas, 6 o'clock that night, Texas time, at the Fort Worth Convention Center. You want to be.
Oh, this is the thing. And then he goes to, let's see, he goes to Lanny Walnuts. Let's see how they finish this shit out. I don't have time for all of this. Who does he bring in there? Who's that? Okay. I don't even know this. Well, we've seen this guy before. I can't remember his name, though. Does he have a nickname? He doesn't have one. Lanny Walnuts has one. Let's see.
Expanding and intimidating central government.
Yeah, this sounds like a Christian television show.
It is. And, you speaking of backlash.
Look at these all assholes nodding. Yeah. And then some asshole walked up to me and said, give unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. I almost clocked the fucker.
And so, John, I'll give this to you before we go to the break here.
Please do.
We are seeing the backlash now, like Lance is talking about. I think there's another wave of that. And what's that?
Yes, it's a backlash to the backlash. And then Alex Jones called it the beginning of the end of the beginning of the end of the end of the new start.
Wave. I think there's these young parents who've had kids and they've kind of gone, well, they're
doing filthy things.
They've probably been left leaning and they don't really know. But now as their children begin to enter school, let's remember what happened in Florida. That whole thing with Don't Say Gay had nothing to do with it. It was about teaching children from kindergarten to third grade.
Right, it's a troll bill.
Right, about gender issues and sexual education. That's the only thing that bill was about. But now when that level of parent is starting with those new children are going to take the kids to school, this is going to be a whole different world.
By the way, the bill was a total, I went through this. I showed you guys the text of the bill. The bill is a total waste of time. Doesn't effectively change anything. It's meant to get right-wing voters back to the polls.
Whole different ball game when we see what's happening, John. I mean, do you think it's going to be a quicker thing, or do you think we're going to see something happen over a longer period?
Yeah, it might be that human societal change actually takes possibly decades. Yeah, it's totally a Fox News backdrop they've got. They bought it from the same graphics package.
I think I hope you see something over a longer period of time. I like the way that you broke that out, Gene.
Tech entrepreneur and attorney, millionvoices.org. So all the pretext of like a preacher as well, it doesn't, your voice matters, use it well.
It's usually when you're younger, you're not as responsible for more things, but when
tell that to Matt Gaetz.
Married, you become more responsible and have to deal with more things. When you have kids, you become even more responsible. So the weight of what are we teaching someone, and it happens. It's a normal trend that happens with people. Think about the insanity of what's happening here. The bill in Florida was to keep transgender thought and draining people's brains and their morals.
Draining their brains?
Kindergarten. These kids are barely out of diapers. You can't drink a...
Yeah, they're not doing it. That's what I'm saying. This was puffery. They meant it to make it like in schools, and that was enough to set everybody else on the Twitterverse fighting back against this thing when it wasn't even happening to start with. It's like the same as the CRT argument. This is all culture war bullshit that has, by the way, almost nothing to do with shutting down anybody on the left side of the spectrum or stopping trans rights or any of that kind of stuff. It is a motivator for right-wing voters this fall. That's it. That's what it's for.
To your 21.
It's a manipulation. It was a propaganda bill.
Drive a car to 16. Most places you can't pierce your ears until you're 14, and they want the rights.
He seems to know all these numbers by heart.
From the parents. Books in their school, teachers that are doing it, teachers that have an agenda. And
yeah, apparently some people want to put the Bible in schools and have it available in there. And there's a story in there about these two daughters that fuck their dad. They get him drunk first. No, but only after they've witnessed the death of their mother for reminiscing about times when she was in Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oftentimes it's an individual person that gets this through, and now I think there's going to be parents that stand up and go, well, if that's happening, it's the same thing that you're seeing on the other end of the spectrum. Sure. If they can cancel free speech, if they can shut down Christian
which they didn't do.
Worship, if
they can't, nobody can shut down Christian worship. What they mean is giant churches. These big ones got all pissed off during COVID because this is their bread and fucking butter.
What do we have in this country? Literally, this is a threat that is unparalleled in our lifetime.
Well, you're a youngin'. I like I said, I hid under a desk because we might be nuked.
Thank goodness people are waking up, and I love what you're doing with the Flashpoint Army.
It's not an army.
Is it become?
It's the Flashpoint puttering masses.
10 times that in the next couple of months.
Yeah, it needs to for us to continue to make an impact.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You thought you were making an impact. I beg your pardon. All right, I gotta go. I gotta get ready. I gotta do a little vocal warm up.
Out of the novel's pages.
No, go away. Don't play. Hold on. We did. I was late, so I felt like I could go a little long, and now it's almost 7 o'clock, and I've got 2 hours to get my act together and get over to. I gotta wash the red out of my hair from the show last night, or do I? Maybe not. Maybe it won't matter. Who knows? Maybe I'll just feel crazy. But I've got Nerd Halen tonight, 10 o'clock at the Viper Room. If any of you are in the area, come on down. It's a lovely gathering. It will be our, more than likely, it's our last time at the Viper Room. I hope we get to do it one more time before the end of the year. That would be great. because it goes away. They're knocking the building down where Viper Room is. Hopefully they salvage a lot of it, and it moves. It would be nice. I mean, it's not so much the venue as the energy. So I'm just saying, be nice if the Viper Room took over the old place that used to be Gazzari's, and it's a possibility. Just saying, it's out there. Or the old Cat House. That would be lovely. We'll see. Anyways, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Thank you guys for being with me today. I appreciate it. Again, sorry about the where's my cursor again? There it is. Sorry about the timing issues, but that's, it's just I'm on the road. That's what happens, and I appreciate your letting me be flexible about those things sometimes when it's required. I will always do my best to get you through this stuff. And remember, this is what I showed you today is where the seeds of the ideas you're going to hear on Fox News this weekend come from. So it's better to just look at it and go, there's nothing to fear here. There's literally, these assholes have nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear from them. So take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, and I will see you tomorrow. I really will. It's going to be a good time.
Michigan gave us vote time.